Easy Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show, everybody. Or as we like to call it today, the death of the 2026 Detroit Pistons. It was a fun season. 60 wins. If you want to include the playoffs, 70 wins. I mean, it was look, we're going to debate whether or not this was a successful season later on. I've seen that debate started online already. I think if you asked me preseason, hey, what does successful season look like? And you told me, well, they're going to win a playoff series. They're going to push a game 7. They're going to have a top 4 seed. I'd say, yeah, that does sound like a successful season, but you move the goalpost as the season goes on. And once you finish as the 1 seed, once you lock up the 1 seed, anything short of a conference finals is a little bit of a disappointment. Even though, if you go through the Pistons season checklist, what they wanted to accomplish, if you're Trajan Langdon in the front office, they did go accomplish every single one of those things. So you got to kind of take it with a grain of salt, depending on who you're asking, when you're asking the question. That changes what success looks like for this Pistons team. But let's save that a little bit later on. They got whopped yesterday, Game 7. It doesn't even end up being a competitive game. This one's basically over with at halftime, and the Pistons, a couple times, a couple different occasions, made you think that they were going on a run, but this team could not get 2 consecutive baskets to save their lives. They could not for the life of them. Like I kept saying as I was watching the game, they need a kill. They need 3 straight stops. They couldn't do that either. They continued to let Jalen Duren get underneath the rim, and when he's under the rim, he's just not a good rim protector. Cleveland ate him up the entire night, putting him in actions, making him make decisions, step out as a help defender under the basket, whoop, lob it right over to Jared Allen, and he's just dunking it like nobody's business. It was a really tough watch, especially considering this team didn't even have a fight in them. And I went into that playoff matchup, Game 7, thinking there's no way they lose. We have the ABC commercial that's already running Knicks versus Cavs. We've got the towels that got given out with the dogs, the whole roster on them. I was feeling about as confident as ever going into Game 7, the minutes leading up to it, and it did not take long for the Cavaliers to step on those hopes and dreams and end the Detroit Pistons season. We'll talk about the core of this team. Cade Cunningham, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, is that going to be good enough? Do they need to make a big-time trade this offseason to go get a second star? Because obviously Jalen Duren has not lived up to that. Is this forgivable for Jalen Duren? Or are fans just ready to be completely done with the guy, don't want to see him ever suit up for a Pistons team again? I don't think that's an irrational reaction based on how these playoffs went. Now, is it something you should expect? Probably not. But damn, man, that was borderline unforgivable what Jalen Duren put together in these playoffs. And at this point, it's almost like beating a dead horse. And yesterday, he came out with a little bit of aggression on offense, and it was working. But it was the defensive stuff yesterday from Jalen Duren where it's just like, man, you are a non-existent, undersized big man down underneath the rim. And it felt like the Cavaliers completely exposed that. Kenny Atkinson, the Cavs head coach, said they game plan was to just get away from Asar Thompson. They did a nice job of that, even though he still filled up the stat sheet as well. But nonetheless, just gut punch after gut punch after gut punch, body punch after body punch yesterday. For any Pistons fan and the Detroit Pistons team as a whole, watching this team. I went to bed with a sick feeling in my stomach now that we are officially at the offseason. This right here is the Pistons' funeral.
Yeah, I just want to say, Ben, looking pretty good in the black blazer. I didn't quite have the blazer look today. I'm just in the black polo, black pants, good enough. How terrible was that? I mean, last night was an accumulation of every single worry you had about this current Pistons team all thrown into one game. And it just so happened to be the biggest game that people our age have gotten to watch of the Pistons ever. We weren't watching the 2004 NBA Finals. We were like little babies, So the fact that it was that big of a game and every single worry that you had about the Pistons, the potential of Jalen Duren getting outplayed, all three bigs not being able to see the floor, the spacing offensively being terrible, not being able to slow down Donovan Mitchell and James Harden when they're willing to be playmakers, which Harden always has been, the shooting not being there. It was every single thing. Asar Thompson being awesome on defense, but clearly his lack of spacing offensively being a big hindrance last night. All of that stuff thrown into one game, and they lose by 30. It was just an embarrassment.
Can I tell you the biggest one? Tobias Harris is really going to be our second leading scorer.
That's another really good one.
Yeah, he is going to be, well, last night he certainly wasn't your second leading scorer. He had 5 points, so that 7-game run where he had 20 points in a row, it was bound to correct itself at some point.
No secondary creation outside of Cade Cunningham. When you have Danis Jenkins and Marcus Sasser as your lone other guards that get minutes, all of that was thrown into this game as well. There wasn't one single thing that went right, and everything that we were blinded to throughout the season of we know this is an issue, but they're still winning games. All of that revealed itself last night.
The one thing that I really don't understand, and it makes sense, Tobias Harris, 0 for 6 last night, 0 for 2 from downtown. It at least makes a little bit of sense. We were due for one Tobias Harris stinker game. This is kind of his reputation going into the playoffs. Is he going to be back on the Pistons next year? I don't know. That seems like a probably no at this point. I'd lead 70% no.
Really?
I mean, it's just
based off of last night's game?
Not based off of last night, but as you and I have talked about throughout the season, throughout the playoffs, it's just still the most upgradable spot. It's the most upgradable spot in the starting lineup, and he's a free agent. So I think there's a chance he's back. I'm not ruling it out, but I think the Pistons should be aiming a little bit higher than Tobias Harris as their starting power forward, who, again, went 0 for 6 yesterday. Cade Cunningham wasn't able to shoot the long ball as he had been really hot basically the entire playoffs. His three-point percentage had gone up 10 points. It was basically inexplainable because you and I talked about this a little yesterday too. It felt like Cade just had a little bit more lift in his jump shot. I don't really know why or why that didn't exist in the regular season, but it didn't exist in the regular season. And then once again, it didn't exist last night. So he goes 0 for 7. The one thing that doesn't really make a ton of sense to me about what happened yesterday is how Mitchell was able to just basically get everything he wanted when the Pistons all season long had this lights out, tough to score on defense. They were the dogs. They were the bad boys. It was their job. And yesterday it felt like basically the entire Cavs team was at will getting baskets, especially in that third quarter when Jared Allen basically became Kareem. He felt like he couldn't stop.
He was Wilt. I mean, he caught the ball and was the most athletic guy on the floor. It was unbelievable.
Basically, uncontested trips to the rim at will. They're getting Jalen Duren in these actions. They're getting him out of the paint. Even a couple times he caught it at the free throw line. There was that possession where Duncan went to go stunt at him, but then left him, and then you just basically gave Jared Allen a wide open lane. I don't really understand what happened to the defense yesterday, other than the fact that everyone was getting beat off the dribble at the perimeter, and then the last line of defense, Jalen Duren or Isaiah Stewart or Paul Reed, every single one of them was just useless yesterday on the defensive side of the ball. What happened to the defense that was, top 3 in the league the entire year yesterday? Because it was non-existent. I don't really have an explanation for that one.
Well, I mean, and I think one of the explanations is a credit to Donovan Mitchell, because all series long and all playoffs long, he has just been a guy that has refused to pass the basketball, especially on drives. If he's driving it, it's going to be that windmill carry in a floater. It's going to be some trying to finish a pull-up tough jump shot. And the Pistons started to play into that. Obviously he had the huge half in Game 4 that was, right? And outside of that, I mean, Donovan Mitchell had a bad series against the Pistons going into Game 7. And so their strategy stayed the same. Hey, we're going to let Mitchell work one-on-one and take tough shots. except for last night, and we're going to bring the second guy because he's going to try to shoot over him. He's going to try to finish through him. And something changed in his game last night where he was willing to make the extra pass. The Pistons were not prepared for it. And not only were they not prepared, they did not have an answer for it. There was no adjustment made to, okay, he is being a playmaking guard today. He's making the right plays. Every single shot the Cavs took, you and I were watching this game, felt like a good look. Literally every single shot, whether it was a jumper, whether it was something in the paint, they got good look after good look. And if they missed, they got the offensive rebound.
Yeah.
Like, it was just never ending in that game, and that's what made it so frustrating.
And meanwhile, on the other side, Cade Cunningham's trying to dribble in and out between 3 different guys all swarming him, and there's no one to kick the ball to because there's no spacing at all. Duren's clogging the paint. Duren's demanding post-ups when he's 15 feet from the basket, and you're basically forced to throw it to him because if you don't, he's just taking up a ton of space. I know everyone wants to go at Duren, and he's been a little bit of a punching bag, rightfully so. But you know who also should be a little bit of a speed bag is JB Bickerstaff, who's 16 and 26 now in the playoffs as a head coach. You know the Scooby-Doo where you take the mask off and it turns out it was one of your big allies? JB Bickerstaff basically took his mask off yesterday and kind of turned into Monty Williams because halfway through the second quarter, we had played 10 different guys. And it was usually throughout a playoff series, and especially in Game 7, the list of guys you trust just has to come down a little bit, and you end up going to 8-man, 7-man rotations. And the Pistons, JB Bickerstaff was just I have no idea at this point who to trust, so we're playing 3 centers. Marcus Sasser's going to get a ton of run today. Danis Jenkins and Marcus Sasser are going to play together. I mean, I was banging my head against the table last night. You know me, man. I've always been a big Sasser guy. I think he's a nice spark to the team. Not after last night. I
would have thought you were his biggest hater.
What the hell was going on last night with Marcus?
Well, look.
He was giving up, not that he was giving up offensive rebounds, but he's certainly not helping anybody out on the glass. When he gets on James Harden or Donovan Mitchell, they just go by him easily with no resistance. And then he gets the ball on offense, and it's just hey, I'm no help to Cade Cunningham because I'm either standing 35 feet away from the basket trying to find Cade Cunningham and just telepath a pass to him where everyone knows, and then we're going to take 6 seconds to do that. Or it's just, I'm going to dribble, try to hit a step. It doesn't engage anybody else, I guess is what I'm saying. He doesn't draw help defenders or is able to pass the ball over the top to open shooters. I couldn't believe how many minutes Marcus Sasser was getting in this game. And this isn't a bashing Marcus Sasser point that I'm trying to make.
Hit the most threes in the game yesterday for the Pistons.
It's simply a JB Bickerstaff. By the time we got to Game 7 in the series, it felt like he had no idea what the rotation was supposed to be, who to trust, who he could put out there. And this has kind of been the story of JB Bickerstaff in the playoffs. He gets everyone to fight hard in the regular season, play harder than everyone else, which he deserves credit for. I'm not taking that away from him. And then you get into the postseason, and he's yeah, I've put so much confidence in every single one of you that I actually don't know which one of you guys I need to bench right now.
Counter, the Pistons aren't even playing in Game 7 if it's not for those bench guys, because that's how they won Game 6. Marcus Sasser, Paul Reed, Duncan Robinson off the bench, LeVert, the bench is what won them the game in Game 6.
Sure, so, I don't disagree with that.
So, I understand going back to it in Game 7. Now, I'm with you in the point that, okay, you probably got to realize pretty early on none of these guys have it. Okay, let's cut this thing short.
Shocker, the 10th man doesn't have it in a Game 7. Thank you for your service in Game 6.
And I will say, there is not one specific player that is, the reason they lost this game. All 3 bigs were terrible yesterday. It was just it was everything. There was not one guy that was man, he lost them the game. And to the JB thing, my argument would just be the roster is not as good as the Cavs roster. The depth of this team isn't there. That's what I'm saying. So I'm not going to sit here and blame JB. I think he got the most out of this team. I think this was probably the team's ceiling at the end of the day. And maybe they even surpassed what their ceiling truly was, because this roster just is not as good as it needs to be to go to a conference finals.
So here's where we stand. Was this the best chance that the Pistons had to go to an Eastern Conference Finals? Is this somewhat reminiscent of the 2023 Lions, where they get to the NFC Championship at kind of a premature stage of their development, of their build, and all of a sudden you blink your eye and it's how did we get here? We're almost a little bit naive of the fact that we are here because we've never had to go through the losses. I know they didn't get to all the way to the conference finals, this Pistons team, But you look around, it's like, okay, Pacers are going to be better next year. There's no reason to think the Knicks are going to be worse. Boston's going to be a hell of a lot better. Cleveland's going to still exist. And this was kind of the year to capitalize. No Giannis. Who knows where he's going to end up playing. Is this somewhat reminiscent of that 2023 Lions team where you take it for granted? Yeah, of course we're going to be back. We play harder than everyone. In the Lions case, we're grittier than everyone. Is this reminiscent of that? Or is this Pistons core of Cade, Ausar, Duren, are they young enough to where you think, no, this is only the beginning? Is this the beginning? Or did they just blow their best opportunity to go to a finals? I'm having conflicted thoughts. I'm not sure how this core is supposed to all coexist with each other. Because I think those three guys still have value across this league, right? Cade, Ausar, Duren. But can they all coexist on the Pistons? The answer to that right now, 12 hours after they get eliminated, feels like no. So, again, Cade is 24. Ausar Thompson's 22. Jalen Duren is 22. Asar's 23. I think that this is more, hey, this is only the beginning. But I don't know how these offensive issues are supposed to be fixed as long as Jalen Duren and Ausar Thompson are on the floor. And that makes me think maybe there is a big move coming this offseason, which have been some of the reports in the last couple days as well, that the Pistons are going to try to make some sort of splash deal to get Cade another star. Because clearly, Jalen Duren's 10 points per game in the playoffs is not going to be good enough in order to get the Pistons over that hump. 989-837-6125. Did the Pistons just blow their best opportunity to go to a finals, or is this only the beginning stages of what the Pistons are building? It's the Ben Bosscher Show. We are live here on 100.9 The Mitt. The 9 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Iron Stack Technology. You know, we talk about the game plan all the time on this show. Yesterday, JB Bickerstaff's game plan was we're just going to play everybody. Every single person that's gotten run here in the playoffs, you're just all going to play in Game 7. Off the top of your head, you know who the leading scorer was for the Pistons yesterday, Kyle?
Ooh. Duncan Robinson?
Danis Jenkins with 17.
Nice.
Anyway, game plan, that's how Iron Stack approaches IT. They help businesses stay secure, efficient, and ready for what's next so you can focus on your mission instead of your technology. That's Iron Stack Technology, solution-driven, mission-focused. You can check them out online at ironstacktechnology.com.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The... Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
(989-837-6125). We'll be taking texts all day for this Pistons funeral. If you would like to say something nice or mean about this Pistons team, we're here all day. We got the YouTube chat as well. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Look, we did get one text that said, that was a very sad way to go out last night. They should have lost in Game 6. That's like the ultimate, like, oh, man, we're in a dark spot right now. We wish they would have lost the last game before Game 7 even rolled around to avoid the pain of this one.
I mean, the way they went out, like, I don't necessarily disagree. Like, that was the thing. It was like, oh, this is Game 7, another Game 7 at home for this team. How awesome is that? It couldn't have gone worse. Like, I would have much rather had a tight game and lose the tight game. Getting blown out, I didn't watch the fourth quarter, Ben. I didn't watch a second of it. Mm-hmm. I haven't done that. I haven't turned off a Pistons game, I don't know, all year. Like, I refused to watch the rest of this game. It was so bad. And I think the one thing we forgot to touch on that was the most frustrating, we got the Game 7 James Harden game.
Yeah.
We got it.
He was awful.
He was terrible. And yet it didn't matter. It didn't matter, like, at all.
So, to the original question I posed to you and I posed to our audience, is this more reminiscent of the 2023 Lions, where Dan Campbell says afterwards, that may have been our only shot? Or is this still a young enough core to where you think, I think this team is actually more so in the beginning stages of what they're trying to put together? And I think when I hear the ages and I look at, what this team achieved, they probably did overachieve this year at the end of the day. Cade's 24 years old, Asar's 23, Jalen's 22. It's like, yeah, I would guess that this is probably closer to the beginning of what's going on. The Tobias Harris spot is super upgradable. You would hope that the Pistons can make some sort of move to add not even a superstar, but some other player to surround Cade Cunningham with, a shooter that can space the floor. I think it's more of the beginning, and then I watch the Pistons offense in a game like last night. I'm not sure how it's ever supposed to be better or fix itself if Ausar Thompson and Jalen Duren coexist on the offensive side of the ball. And that's with Ausar Thompson in the playoffs being somewhat of a willing shooter. Even if he does knock down a 3 a game, he's still probably not going to be a guy that's ever respected from the outside enough to truly generate spacing on the floor. People talk, what if Ausar can shoot? Okay, maybe he can end up developing somewhat of a jump shot.
What if I had $1 billion?
Well, like I think Ausar developing a jump shot where he makes one every other game is more realistic. No offense to you. But no matter what, even if he is willing to shoot and can knock one down once in a while, no one's going to respect him enough out there to have to close out super hard on him. It's still a win of a possession for the defense if Ausar Thompson is taking a 3. I don't know if you can have, in 2026, 2 players that are just zeros from the outside in a modern-day offense around Cade Cunningham, a guy that's plays heliocentric, but more so to a default based on the rest of the roster. I don't know if you can have both of those guys in a half-court offense in the fourth quarter of a game if Cade Cunningham's going to be your superstar. And that's not a knock on Cade. It's more so hey, are Duren and Ausar too similar? So I think at the end of the day, the Pistons are too young. I don't think it's quite the 2023 Lions. I think they can bounce back and become an even better team than they were this season. Maybe not from a regular season win standpoint, but from a playoff success standpoint. But I do really, really question whether or not I think Duren and Ausar can do this together. And right now, it's probably reactionary. I have the ability to change my mind as the offseason continues to progress. I'm allowed to do it. But right now, I'm thinking, no, like Duren can't be on this team next year. And I get it. It's 12 hours after the game ended. But right now, that's kind of what I'm feeling right now. And you're going to have to find a trade partner. Like, now we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. But, like, seriously, man, like, Ausar is untouchable to me. Obviously, Cade is untouchable to me. Jalen Duren, I don't think he's in that group right now for the Detroit Pistons. And if they really want to get over that hump, I think it might require moving off of Jalen Duren and finding some sort of an upgrade at the center position. He's 22. He can continue to develop as a player. But even him at his very best, what does that look like next to Ausar Thompson? Probably bad spacing.
And I think, like, to talk more about the Ausar Thompson side of things, because we all have the same frustrations about Jalen Duren. Like, that's kind of been the main piece of the talking point all playoffs long for the Pistons. And it's going to be everything that gets talked about this offseason. But to Ausar's side of the offense looking bad, it's not just his inability to shoot. That's not a big deal. Like, I know it seems like a big deal, obviously, but like, he's still a creative enough offensive player to be able to be utilized in a right way. It's the fact that in these playoffs, every time he caught the ball when he was being left alone wide open, when his defender was standing in the paint, he didn't even look at the basket.
It's like Cohen Carr.
He didn't even catch the ball and like try to. Well, if Cohen Carr
not
catched
Cohen
it,
Carr, Carson Cooper.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like he catches the ball. He's like, somebody come take it.
yeah, he's like, let me do a dribble handoff with somebody. Like, he doesn't even look at the hoop. Like, Asar, you are very athletic and honestly a pretty good playmaker for a non-guard. Like, he should be able to at least have the confidence to look at the basket, to dribble it to the elbow and do something. So it's concerning that once the stakes got higher offensively for him, he just didn't even try once he got the basketball. A lot of his points came in the break on offensive rebounds, stuff like that. But going into the offseason, I mean, I still find it very unrealistic that there's a world where Jalen Duren doesn't return to the Pistons. And so I think you have to try to figure out a way to treat Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson as not the 2 and 3. They're the 3 and 4. Like, getting the number 2 is the most important thing if you're bringing back both of those guys, because the most realistic world is both of them return, right? It just is. We can talk about, oh, do they trade Duren? Do they try to do a sign and trade, this and that? Is he going to get a deal from somebody else? The most realistic thing is that both of them are back. So it's finding who's going to be that number 2, and it obviously has to be someone that complements not just them, but Cade to the best ability, because those two are always going to be a blocking offensively as far as the spacing goes.
Yeah, because look around the East. It's Brown and Tatum. It's Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. It's
Brunson
like a trio.
and Cat.
Brunson and Cat, 2 all-star. And with the Pistons,
Halliburton and Siakam, a really good duo too.
with the Pistons, it's Cade and everybody else right now. They don't have their second guy.
Cade and them.
Jalen Duren falls back into the and them category rather than the Cade and
I
Duren
think Asar
duo.
does too. Like, I still think Asar is the second best asset the Pistons have value wise, and he was unbelievable on defense in this playoffs, 100%. But the offense really does like lower things, you know.
Yeah,
like
he can't be a Robin. He's something else.
100%.
He's part of the squad. Robin's in that group? What is it called? The Teen Titans.
Sure.
He's the guy with the gadget arms. I have no idea what the guy's name is, but you know what I'm talking about? The go-go
Yeah,
gadget guy.
yeah.
That's Asar Thompson. He's not like the main guy in the
But like
film.
a good guy to have.
Good guy to have on the roster.
Chris kind of is agreeing with this. He says, to me, the core of this team is Cade alone. Duren and Asar are nothing more than role players on a good team. I would trade anybody not named Cade to get a number 2.
The Jalen Duren thing's going to split the fan base this offseason, if I do imagine. Because you're right, he's more than likely going to be back.
Not want him around, right? Just based off of how things went in the playoffs.
The issue is, even if he comes back and is a dominant player yet again, he doesn't have the ability to redeem himself until next April.
Yeah, and then on top of it,
it just won't happen.
He's going to be making 5 times his salary that he was.
That's the tricky part about this. They could go on to have 65 wins next regular season, and none of it matters. Because now you set the expectation. It doesn't matter if you're the 1 seed. The only thing that matters next year is progressing, getting to a finals, getting to an Eastern Conference Finals. And Jalen Duren can come back and average 25 and 15 and make another All-NBA team. I guess I shouldn't say another because we don't know if he made the All-NBA teams this year. It won't matter. Like, we're still going to have the same worries. We're still going to have the same fears that were in the back of our head all regular season that ended up playing out in the playoffs, and specifically in last night in Game 7, where it's like, there's just no spacing, and you can hound Cade and leave Asar. And the defense with Jalen Duren was way more concerning than the offense, I thought, the past couple of games. Like, at least he brought it some energy on offense. At least he was, like, aggressive and wanted to go use his physical strength against Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, 2 guys he's just stronger than. The defensive stuff with him was like, dude, are you ever going to be in the right position? Because he's undersized for a big man, and he's just a walking foul. And when he has to vertically protect the rim, he doesn't have the ability to do it. I don't know if he's ever going to be an above-average defender in terms of protecting the rim.
Which is odd,
That's the biggest
because
concern.
I thought that the defense, like, this season was his biggest improvement. I know offensively, on offense, he took a big leap as well. He took a big leap as a player overall, 100%. And the defense was the one thing that even in the Cleveland games, I was like, okay, the defense hasn't been that bad. The offense has been a disaster. The defense hasn't been that bad. But in Game 7, like last night,
It was every possession.
it was unreal. Yeah, it was the worst because the Cavs were getting every single drive. Duren was just consistently making the wrong decision on every single drive.
Well, even when he doesn't make, like, there's great defenders in the NBA, great defensive centers that they can be in the right or wrong position, and they're just good enough to protect the rim at all costs. Like, they're the last line of defense. Duren doesn't have that part of his game.
He hides literally under the hoop.
Yeah.
As a 6'10" guy.
And no one's afraid, because this is what I always said about Duren prior to this season. It was like, Duren is non-existent now. Like, no one's afraid to attack the rim if Jalen Duren's under the basket. There's a lot of NBA centers, the all-star, all-NBA guys, where it's like, yeah, you think twice before you go up if they're standing under the basket. Duren's not one of those guys. No one deters themselves from taking a shot if he's underneath the basket. Nobody fears him down there. That's the scary part. So, like, the Pistons can pride themselves in this defensive team all of next regular season, too. They could take another step forward, and it's like, it's not going to mean jack squat until you get to April and can do it, because this team was their worst defensive performance of the year in any game that actually mattered.
Yeah, and it was just so happened to be the game that mattered the most ever.
989-837-6125. Can the Pistons win a championship with this core? Who's untradeable? Who's not? Who's a part of it? Is it Cade and everybody else? Is it Cade and Asar? Is it all three of them, Cade, Asar, and Duren? Is it only Cade and Duren? Let's hear what you guys have to say. 989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on YouTube, too. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you're enjoying the show, we appreciate it here. It's the death of the Pistons, 2026. The show is brought to you by Bresky Siding and Building Repair, the experts who do the job right the first time. Whether you get a leaky roof, storm damage, siding looking a little tired, Bresky has you covered. Locally owned, trusted, and dedicated to keeping Midland area homes safe and looking sharp. Quality materials, skilled craftsmanship, and service that puts your family first. Don't wait for the next storm. Call Bresky Siding and Building Repair today and keep your home strong for years to come.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back into the show. Let's get to a couple Mitt messages here regarding, do you think this team can win with the core of Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, and Asar Thompson? Can they all coexist? Is there a hump to get over for these guys, or are they going to be stuck here as a second-round team unless there is some move to where you move off one of those guys? I know we had a text earlier that said it's Cade. Everybody else is expendable. You got to do what you got to do to get a second star. Honestly, I can understand where people are coming from when they say that. Asar doesn't bring anything to the table on offense. Jalen Duren just did the biggest disappearing act since Houdini. So it makes sense. I think it's a little bit over the top since we're talking about this 12 hours after the playoffs went. And if you ask me a week from now, I think I'll probably have somewhat of a different answer. But, we do a show where we have 3 hours worth of content to talk about every single day. And as of right now, it's like, yeah, man, I don't really think Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson can exist in the long term. But the reality of the situation is it's probably going to return those, the Pistons are probably just bringing back those three guys next year. I would probably lean a little bit more towards, let's see if there's a signing trade available for Jalen Duren. I have a couple trades for later on in the show where it's let's just call the door and see if call the phone, see if there's a couple teams that are willing to talk this thing out. Because Jalen Duren, it's not like he has zero value across the league. I mean, he was an all-NBA guy. He's 22 years old. He still has, obviously, room to grow. I just think with the Asar Thompson fit, I don't know. I don't know if that's what I really want to sign up for if they're both getting contract extensions. Because then you're kind of just signing up for those three long-term. I'm not there. So let's see where you guys are at. 989-837-6125. Rob says, it was still a successful season if you would ask me if they would have gotten 60 wins and said they're not successful. This would have been. But if you ask me if they would have gotten 60 wins before the season, I would say you're crazy to not think it's a successful year. Yeah, but now, sure. Now, here's the thing, Rob. Now, from this point on, we're not judging anything based on the regular season because the regular season has become not irrelevant, but not something to judge this Detroit Pistons team based off of anymore because of the success they had in the regular season and them falling on their face.
I still agree with Rob, though, in the sense that this is a successful season based off of, coming into the year, the goal was for them to win a playoff series. And I understand we're disappointed by the way things happened, especially the way they lost last night, getting embarrassed on your home floor in Game 7. But going into this season, they weren't going to be the 1 seed, and they out-exceeded expectations in the regular season and won a playoff series and went to Game 7. I do think that it was a successful season. It just, of course, leaves a bad taste in your mouth based off of the way it went down.
Jacob says, I'm going to say it. Cade is way too nonchalant. He is smooth, a quiet criminal. We need a true vocal leader to take charge of this team.
He's going to say it.
He said it.
You know who else is pretty nonchalant? The back-to-back MVP.
Shea? Yeah, he is quiet.
He's not a huge vocal leader guy.
No, I think Cade leads by example.
Not saying that Cade is Shea, but I don't think it takes that type of guy to be a leader to win a championship.
Nicholas says, you guys always talk about Cade Cunningham being this amazing defender. Didn't look like it was on display at all last night. I think Cade Cunningham's a very good defender for being an all-star, for the all-star guards. I think they ask so much of him offensively that yesterday and throughout the course of a series, the defense just kind of slowly gets worse and worse and worse as it goes on.
I think he's a pretty good on-ball defender. Off the ball, he as a help defender, he takes possessions off, but a lot of star players do. I do think, to the Cade point, by the way, because Cade was bad last night. That's just, let's say it how it is.
Wasn't even their leading scorer.
Yeah, he had a really bad game in a Game 7, which is unfortunate. We do kind of forget, and I forgot about this, and I was reminded about it last night. The guy was coming off of a pretty significant injury coming into the playoffs, and asking of him to just come back and be the guy, and he was all playoffs long, which is extremely impressive. It felt like at some point it had to come to an extreme halt. It just happened at the worst time ever.
Ken says, this was another good season. Now it's up to management to add pieces. Takes time to build a sustainable, deep playoff team. Took several years for the bad boys and the going to work teams to go from good to great. That's a good way to think about it. This is also a different era of the NBA. Like, you have very, very limited windows now. Not to say that you didn't before, but that's a good way of thinking about this. It took some playoff failures before, and that's the case with most NBA champions.
You
got to
lose.
fail in the playoffs before you can get over that hump.
It would have been nicer to fail later in the playoffs.
Now, I will say, like, not to say it's next year bust for this Pistons team, but you don't really get the luxury of saying year after year after year, oh, well, we got the experience. Like, next year would kind of be the year to get over the bump.
And I do think that the one positive that comes from losing in this round is that it does open the eyes to hopefully Trajan Langdon and the rest of the front office. Like, hey, this team clearly was not good enough to get over the hump to the Eastern Conference Finals. Whereas if they did get to the Eastern Conference Finals, put up a fight against the Knicks, hell, even beat them, the same issues that we've been talking about all day would have still existed, you know? Like, we still would be thinking the same thing. They just would have went deeper into the playoffs.
Alex says, can't have a core of two guys that can't shoot. Yeah, I mean, we're going to have so many conversations about this throughout the course of the offseason, and maybe it just is as simple as that. Like, no, it's really not that complicated. You can't have two guys in the starting lineup and in the closing lineup that are unable to shoot the basketball. And I know Asar showed a little of a flash, and Jalen Duren takes the 18-footer, but I think the defense is kind of happy every time Jalen Duren takes that 18-foot jump shot. I know I put my hands on my head every time I do it, so if I'm kind of annoyed by it, then the other team's certainly satisfied with him taking a jump shot like that.
And they're happy every time Asar Thompson catches the ball in the corner.
Yeah. Let me peek at the YouTube chat really quick, make sure I'm not missing anything. Ryan says, Asar Thompson, Parker Meadows, literally the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other, Hall of Fame level defenders with absolutely zero on offense.
It's pretty good.
That's
pretty
good.
Funny.
I'll say I think Asar Thompson is way more impactful defensively than Parker Meadows ever has been.
Sure.
Even though Parker Meadows is a great center fielder. But
you're more
Asar
involved on defense on a play-to-play basis in basketball than as a center fielder in baseball.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. That's just the reality of the sport.
But
I like the comparison.
Funny comparison, for sure.
Chris says, if you're going to keep and pay Duren and Asar, good luck affording a number two. Yeah, that's where you either really have to get creative or move off.
Not really, because the Duren, like, it doesn't save them any money to not keep Jalen Duren. Like, they own his rights. It goes into their books. They still have the $20-some million cap number with or without paying Jalen Duren this offseason. And so then you can get creative in, like, guys who might not be returning to this team. Is Isaiah Stewart going to be a Piston next year?
Well, he played 6 minutes last night, so I would say he's extremely expendable.
And played under 10 minutes in, like, every game of this Cleveland series. Like, I love Stewart, but I think now is probably the time you move off of him because he still for sure is going to have value across the league. He's on a really good deal, and clearly J.B. Bickerstaff had kind of just given up on him in this playoffs based off of all the dumb stuff he does.
Oh, my God. I mean,
I love Stu, man.
We take
but
out Jalen Duren, and we have Stu come in who just, like, forces guys to take bad shots a little bit more at the rim rather than just, like, going up and getting the easy layups the way that Duren is under the basket. But then he can't help himself every free throw attempt, dude. Every single time they get lined up for a free throw, Isaiah Stewart can't help but to two-hand shoving somebody in the chest. He can't help it. And
they're in the bonus. And it's just like a ridiculous foul. It's unbelievable, man.
I would say he's expendable. I would say Ron Holland's expendable. Levert's another contract that you just throw in to try to get the money to add up.
Especially with Paul Reed's contract next year, like how cheap he's on the books. Like, it makes Isaiah Stewart extremely expendable. Yeah, Levert, Robinson, there's $30+ million right there to move in a deal.
And
like
basically any first-round pick.
They don't have to get extremely creative unless they're trading for a guy that's making $50+ million, which they're not doing. So, I mean, they're likely
There's
not.
one guy.
Yeah, you're right. They're likely not doing. And I think the most ideal guys are in that 30 to 40 range. So I think they could, go get their number two while keeping Asar and Duren. It's just going to make, like, 3 years from now really difficult.
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on the Mitt. We will get to our news when we come back. We'll do some Overreaction Monday stuff. I want to bring up the Tigers into that. We've got around the league. We'll go blame game as well for the Pistons. It's the funeral of the Detroit Pistons. Where did I don't actually think that. I think preseason I would have said successful year. But once you move the goalposts after being the 1 seed and you go into the playoffs, I think they fell short of expectations. You need to get to a 1 seed. You need to get to a conference championship if you're the 1 seed.
They did fall short, but also their team is worse than Cleveland's. So it's tough.
989-837-6125. It's the Ben Bosscher Show, and we're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Locally owned, proudly family operated. That's Ace Hardware and Sports, downtown Midland. It's your go-to spot as we gear up for spring and summer. Stop in on East Main Street in the heart of downtown Midland. That's Ace Hardware, helping your home and your yard get ready for the season ahead, all while supporting your community.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's do a little Overreaction Monday. I was really excited for some Cade Cunningham stuff, but can't do it because it was all positive because I thought they were going to win. First one for Overreaction Monday. Tigers, they are the worst team in the league. Is this an overreaction, an underreaction, or a proper reaction? They are 2-10 since Tarek Skubal hit IL. They have a negative 31 run differential over the last 12 games. That is the second worst in baseball, only behind the Los Angeles Angels. I don't think it's an overreaction. I think this is the worst team in the league as it stands right now. They're not the worst team in the league when they're fully healthy, but guess what? They're not even close to fully healthy anymore. I think this is the worst team in the league as it is.
For hyperbole's sake, I'll say yes, but I think the team that you just said is actually the worst team.
They're the worst team.
The Anaheim Angels are so bad.
They're the worst team because this is the best version, not the best version of them, but this is who they are. This isn't exactly
like
who the
Mike
Tigers
Trout
are.
is still playing, and they're bad. You know, like
Playing well.
Wait till Mike Trout gets injured, which he does every year. Like then they're going to be even worse. So the Angels are probably the real worst team in baseball. They've lost 6 in a row. They've gotten swept in 2 straight series. But the Tigers are certainly playing like the worst team in baseball. And if you say they're the worst team, I definitely don't disagree because they've lost 4 straight series now. I mean, it's just getting ridiculous at this point.
They're 2-8 in their last 10. The run differential's terrible. On both sides, it's not like they can get outs and they can't score runs right now either.
They've lost 6 of their last 7 series overall. Like, this is going back quite a while now. Yeah, it's terrible. I also do, speaking of the Tigers, when you brought up the Dan Campbell NFC Championship thing, like, oh, this might have been the closest we could get. Since he said that, the city of Detroit is 0-4 in winner-take-all games to go to the conference championship round.
Tigers twice,
Lions,
Pistons.
Commanders, and now Pistons.
Are you so we're blaming Dan Campbell for what? for the lack of
No, I think
playoff
Dan Campbell is
success?
right. Like I think it's just proving that he is right. It's just it is a difficult thing to go far in the playoffs and to say like we'll be back next year is just the easiest thing ever to say when it's not that easy.
It's like, oh yeah, we've got a young core, everybody's going to be back, we'll take a step forward.
We'll be better next year.
It's like, yeah, that doesn't always
Ask
happen.
the Pacers that.
Playoff success is not linear. It's not like you just continue to go up until you get a championship. Sometimes you have to like spike out of nowhere and just steal one. And that's my biggest fear with this Pistons season. It's like, yeah, this was the year to kind of steal the East when it was more up for grabs than it had ever been. And the team awaiting you in the conference finals was a team that you had their number over in the regular season. And we're ready to seek revenge based upon what happened last year. The only issue is even if they would have won Game 7, I would have been petrified of, well, the Pistons have played in an entire additional series, 14 games, versus New York, who had only played 10. They would just been sitting there, well-rested, ready to go, as the Pistons basically died to try to win this second-round series. So I think that's probably what ends up happening to Cleveland. They probably died in order to get to the conference finals.
That was going to be my one of overreactions. The Knicks sweep the Cavs.
Yeah, I don't think that's crazy. And honestly,
because that's what I think is going to happen. And another reason why I was so upset last night, the Cavs are just going to get killed by them. And I don't think the Pistons would have. And that's why I'm frustrated even more.
Anybody but New York the rest of the way, right? I honestly hope New York wins this next round.
To win the finals, you're saying?
Yeah.
I want the Knicks in the finals.
I want the Knicks in the finals.
Hoops.
I don't want them to win. I would much rather either the teams in the
Western Conference. Of course I don't want them to win. Oh, it'd be terrible.
I'd rather the OKC foul baiters win the championship than the New York Knicks.
Did Harden get on Jalen Brunson hatred level for like Detroit sports fans in this series?
No, I think because the thing with Brunson is you still had to respect him.
Yeah, because he was, but you didn't want to.
You didn't want to, but you had to respect him. I don't think anybody in Detroit respects James Harden. It's
Fair.
just bad hoops. The only way he's impacting team is when he's getting to the line. All right, this is the Ben Bosscher Show. We'll be back here for the 10 o'clock hour.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
You've got better things to worry about than a broken fridge.
Electric Studios. This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
(989-837-6125). Welcome back in. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. I got a couple fake trades for you. The day the season ends, it's almost like a requirement that you got to do a couple fake trades. So here's what I got for you. I know you're going to hate this first one, but it's the biggest name.
LeBron?
No, but that would be epic. You wouldn't have to trade for LeBron, though. He could just sign for you on a minimum.
LeBron,
be the
Duran,
Tobias
sign
Harris
and trade.
spot. No, the first one's a different LA star. Kawhi Leonard, who's 34 years old, but also on an expiring contract. So you could potentially only get him for one season, and then he could just leave. And just the upheaval he would cause there would be tremendous. But the last time he did that for an Eastern Conference team, he won a championship. Obviously hasn't been fully healthy in a long time, but he did just have one of his best all-around offensive seasons that he's ever had in his career. It'd be a sign and trade with Duran, a first, LeVert, in 3 seconds. That's what I had down. And you bring in Kawhi Leonard, who basically is the perfect fit on this Pistons team. It's someone who can take a little offensive pressure off of Cade, fits the defensive identity. Yeah, the expectation would be he's probably not going to play more than 65 games this year. But basically exactly what the Pistons would want in a player that they're adding. Another wing guy, defends, takes pressure off of Cade. It's kind of the perfect fit. The only problem is it's an expiring contract and a 34-year-old who doesn't play all that often.
Yeah, I'm just like extremely out on this. Maybe like a trade deadline thing. The Clippers stink. You're giving up pennies on the dollar for Kawhi Leonard for a playoff run. That's about it. And I know that was a guy that was rumored that the Pistons might. Not that the Pistons wanted to go get him, but he was just a guy that was like, oh, the Pistons should trade for Kawhi Leonard at this past year's trade deadline.
On paper, it makes about as much sense as anybody in the league.
Also on paper, you can look that he hasn't played in a healthy playoff series in 7 years. Like that's just my thing. He's great. He had a great season, but like this guy just is never healthy in the playoffs when it matters the most. That's when they needed him. They didn't need him in the regular season.
I think
they need him in the playoffs.
The difference for me in terms of the injuries is all of a sudden you don't really need him throughout the regular season. Like you're not reliant upon him the way that LA has been to be the star player, the franchise guy.
Have they? Like he's had series where he's played 30 or seasons where he's played 30 games and still gotten injured in the playoffs.
I know, but I'm saying even in the regular season, it's Cade's team. It's not like you're relying on Kawhi. He's more of a supplement player rather than the main dish, But he would be that co-star for Cade Cunningham. I think it's slightly different.
Sure.
But the bigger concern for me is expiring contract. So you're giving up first-round picks or Jalen Duran or whatever you end up putting the package together to make it work because you'd have to make up $50 million basically somehow worth of money.
And he would want an extension to wherever he's getting traded. Well, I would assume.
That would entice me more than anything else. If you could trade for him knowing that you're getting a contract extension, like, hey, we're going to trade for you. We're signing you 2 more years as well, so you get 3 years of Kawhi up until age 37. Okay, I'm in. The bigger issue for me is you're trading for Kawhi, and it might be a rental. That would be a bigger issue than being able to sign him and extend him. If that's the case, I'm like very in on a Kawhi trade.
We're also just forgetting the fact that this guy might potentially get suspended this offseason for like the terrible aspiration thing that happened last year with the Clippers.
No.
The fake
it's been a year.
The being paid under the table thing. That easily could happen this offseason. So throw that on top of all of the other baggage that comes with Kawhi Leonard. He's an awesome player. The fact that he averaged a career high in points per game this year in his age 34 season is crazy. Like he's a really good player, but we know what's going to happen with that guy. I'm just out on that. There are many better alternatives. If there's no other trade, if it's trade for Kawhi or do nothing, then I think I'm forced to be on board because they have to do something. But yeah, I think I would take any other of your options here.
Option number 2, trade for Trey Murphy. You get to keep Duran. It's Ron Holland. It's LeVert. And it's 3 first-round picks. And maybe that's not enough. Maybe you got to throw in Stu as well.
Probably throw in like a 4th first, honestly.
4 first-round picks. And there's probably someone out there saying, why the hell are they giving up 4 first-round picks for Trey Murphy? Here's why. Because if the Pistons don't do it, somebody else is going to be willing to do it because he's on one of the, if not the best contract in the entire NBA for what he does. Elite three-point shooter, 6'10", crazy long wingspan, just a guy that you can't really leave open or let shoot open threes. It's not Duncan Robinson running off screens, shooting them on the run, but it is like, hey, man, if this guy's taking a corner three and he's open, he's burying it. And he's only making $25 million a year. For another 3 seasons, you get him locked up for 3 years. That's why he's worth that many first-round picks.
Yeah, it's an interesting situation with him because then you run into is the core now of Murphy, Cade, Asar, Duren good enough to win a championship? You know, like that's because
it's basically the Cleveland avenue of we're just going to have like 4 guys. Our fourth best guy is going to be better than your fourth best guy.
Because I like Murphy a ton, and I think he's a really, really good player. I just wonder, like, is there a step up for him? Because if you're trading for him, that's the hope, right? There's a hope that, okay, now that he's playing on a team that's actually competing because he just hasn't. He's been washed away in New Orleans, which is really frustrating for him. A guy that came off the bench for a good chunk of his career before finally, with all the Zion stuff going on, they get rid of Brandon Ingram. Boom, he's become a starter, and he was like a really good player the last couple of years as a starter for New Orleans. I just wonder if there is another step for him to take forward. It's also another guy who hasn't relatively stayed healthy, but it's not like a Kawhi Leonard thing where it's every single season. Yeah, you're right. It's New Orleans. The one thing that scares me with Murphy, and I want him, it scares me as far as his availability. Whoever loses the San Antonio OKC series, their easy route is just like, okay, we need to go get Murphy. And they both have better packages than the Pistons do. That's the part that scares me.
Which is why the Pistons would basically have to be like, here's 4 firsts, Ron Holland, Isaiah Stewart, and whatever else.
Because OKC,
really
OKC still has the treasure trove of picks. They can just say Lou Dort deal plus their 12th overall pick that they have in this draft and a bunch of other firsts. Here you go. San Antonio has other firsts from other teams. They have young, enticing guys. Like, that's what scares me is like he's the perfect guy to go get for one of those 2 teams as a like overreaction. We lost in the conference finals. This is what we have to do. But as far as the right fit and great contract, and you wouldn't be in cap hell, Murphy is the guy, for sure.
If you're Murphy's agent and you're thinking about that next deal already, the Pistons actually make quite a bit of sense because they'd probably be asking him to score more points than either of those other teams. You know, in the case of the Spurs, he'd be their 3rd or 4th best scorer. In the case of the Thunder, he'd be their 3rd or 4th best scorer. If you're coming to Detroit, hey, brother, do you want to average 20 points a game? Oh, the answer is yes. Come on over. And you can set yourself up for a huge contract the next time you get rolled around or the next time you're due up for a free agent contract. That would be my sell to trade Murphy.
Yeah, I think it's a really good sell. All of those sells are good, though. Like going to play for any of those 3 teams over New Orleans, yeah, it'd be pretty good.
Anytime you get to play with Wemby. Trade number 3, and this is the one that's going to just continue and be the loudest this offseason, and this is why I saved it for last. Lauri Markkanen comes to the Pistons. This is where you can get, it can be a Jalen Duren sign and trade. It can be Stu, Ron Holland, 3 firsts, maybe 4 firsts. This could be a number of different ways to get this done. You can get creative with this, but Lauri Markkanen is my last guy who probably makes more sense than anybody. He's another one of those guys that lights out 3-point shooter, brings the 7-foot size, can run at the center position if you need him to, but can easily play the 3 or the 4 as well, and is a bona fide superstar next to Cade. Not superstar, but he'd be instantly.
He's the best number 2 option that they could go get.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, when you look around the East, and it's Cat and Brunson, it's Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. There's a bunch of duos. All of a sudden, you have one of those, like right away. It's not up for debate anymore. You have one of those guys, and there's not as much pressure on Jalen Duren to all of a sudden grow into that. He can be totally something else.
Right. This one has got to be the most risky one. I mean, the Kawhi Leonard, I guess, probably is the most risky one just because it's Kawhi Leonard. But with Lauri Markkanen, like, if you do make the deal for him and you're able to do it while retaining Jalen Duren, Asar Thompson, which I would assume is at least the Pistons' goal if they tried to get Lauri Markkanen, is we'll trade everything else, basically. Ron Holland, Stewart, like you said, the Duncan Levert contracts to make it work out money-wise, all of the picks on planet Earth. And it might still not be enough, just because Markkanen is a really good player. And, like, does Utah even want to trade him? They're going to add, like, a generationally good rookie, plus they traded for Jaren Jackson last year. Like, if they get Peterson, their starting 5 is, like, kind of sneaky nice. But maybe now is the time to move off him to go, like, make your star player be Darren Peterson. So we'll see if they do. But even if they do want to trade him, like, you are locking yourself into Cade Cunningham, Lauri Markkanen, Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren, because you can't do anything else. Like we just said, the thing with Trey Murphy, the core forward, they would still have flexibility to have good quality bench guys off the cap because Murphy's on such a good deal. Like, if you do this and Duren is making 35 M's a year on the safe side, let's say, and Markkanen's contract is unbelievable into the 50s. Cade is obviously contract is unreal. Asar Thompson gets his rookie extension. Like, that is your group. Is that good enough to win a championship? That's the question that they had to ask if they make this trade, because they're not going to have any wiggle room to do other things.
I think I like the Trey Murphy one the most, even though it potentially is still not enough to get over the true final hump. I still think no matter what, like, no matter what kind of moves they make, even if we're really satisfied with them, you get in the playoff situation, and all of a sudden, like, I'm still just scared of the Asar Thompson, Jalen Duren duo. I think that's where I've kind of landed on this offseason. Like, I think I'm going to be a little bit more open to trading Jalen Duren than most other people. I think the casual fan is ready to trade Jalen Duren, like, right now and trade him for a bag of Doritos, but that's not the realistic thing that's going to happen.
You usually don't trade your 22-year-old All-NBA big man.
But I wouldn't be mad if they did.
One bad playoff run.
I really wouldn't be mad if they did, though. And if Asar Thompson didn't exist, I'd say, no, that's an overreaction. Let's keep this guy and help he continues to develop. But I'd rather just keep Asar than Jalen Duren. And right now I feel as if those guys can't exist. So I ask you, I throw it to the people, what do the Pistons have to do this offseason? Plain and simple. What's Trajan Langdon's number one goal? It's the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. Let me tell you this. Apple Mountain and Freelands, they are the perfect place for new golfers. Every round comes with a side of scenic perfection, talking about championship-level courses that are beautifully maintained and just the right mix of challenge and fun. When you've wrapped up 18, head to the Apple Mountain Restaurant, the perfect place for casual elegance and spectacular views. Whether you're playing for score or just soaking up the atmosphere, Apple Mountain is your place to unwind, recharge, and enjoy the game. Apple Mountain, Freeland, minutes away but miles from ordinary.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
So we asked the people, what do the Pistons need to do this offseason? What is the objective? What is the goal? Is it get rid of Duren? I'm so conflicted on that. Realistically, the answer is no. 12 hours later, the answer for me is, yeah. I don't think him and Asar can coexist. If you're using Duren to, acquire a guy like Larry Markkinen, I think I'm on board. Acquire a guy like Kawhi Leonard, maybe. I'm not just getting rid of him if it's not for something really awesome in return. But I do wonder what his value is. So I ask you, what do the Pistons need to do this offseason? Josh says, give Cade a number 2, a Robin to his Batman, no max contract for Duren either. Keep B-Ball Paul around, Asar Thompson, Duncan Robinson, Tobias Harris, and go all in next season. I don't think you can go all in if you're just keeping Tobias Harris.
It sounds
around.
like you're just running it back, right?
Yeah.
The thing about Tobias is I feel like it's just super likely he comes back.
And is the starting power forward?
That's what I don't
or
know.
Is coming
I don't
off
think
the bench
he's.
in
I
a
think
new
he's
role?
coming off the bench in a new role, because who's paying Tobias Harris? Like, more than likely, the Pistons are just giving him the mid-level exception that no other team can. Like, he probably wants to return. They probably want him back. He was really good in the playoffs. He overexceeded expectations.
I mean, if Kawhi,
as long as he's not a starter,
yeah, if he's
they
fine
upgrade that
with
spot.
that, I'm okay with him coming back. I just don't want him to walk in with the expectation he's still getting 30 minutes a night. I think that's where you run into a little bit of trouble, because I think Game 7 kind of proved that he's not the most reliable three-point shooter, even though he got hot in the first round.
Yeah, we got Game 7 James Harden. We also got Game 7 Tobias Harris, too.
Jordan says, trade Duren and however many firsts it takes to get Booker. Oh, man. This is
I
one
was waiting for that one.
This is one that's going to be...
You want to talk about cap hell.
Yeah, I hate to burst anyone's bubble, because I know it's always been the pipe dream to get Devin Booker in a Detroit Pistons uniform, and I'm sure until he retires, people will still be making that claim. It's just not happening. He's making $70 million. There's no way the Pistons can work the money to get him here, first of all. Second of all, Phoenix just isn't going to trade him. Nobody ever wants to trade. Phoenix has never once made it clear that they want to trade Devin Booker. They've done the exact opposite. They said, we're not trading him anywhere. Plus, he's kind of old for making $70 million and being, 29, 30 years old. I'm okay. I'm good there.
He's going to be 33 years old making $69 million.
Yeah, I'm good there, man.
Booker is really good. And always, the fit of Cade and Booker always made a ton of sense. 100%. It did. It just is not going to happen. Would be cool, though.
Zach says, trade for Trey Murphy, Holland Stewart, and a first. Oh, brother, I got bad news for you. It's going to cost more than just
the
that one
Holland Stewart
first.
part, I think, makes sense. It's going to, because he's going to be the biggest hot commodity of the offseason. Everybody's going to want that guy.
Everybody wants
issue.
that contract. It's $25 million a
Why
year
they want
for
that guy.
3 more years. It's one of the best contracts in the NBA for guys that aren't superstars, without a doubt. So, yeah, whoever gets eliminated from the West is going to think they need him. The Pistons are going to think they need him too. The Pistons could give him the best sell, though, in terms of, hey, do you want to come here and improve your status for the next time you're a free agent? Because the Pistons will give him the most runway to work with offensively. He'll score the most points with the Pistons, even though...
I think San Antonio, he'd still average 20.
I don't think so. With the role that Castle and Harper are both going to have next year, I don't think Trey Murphy would be their second or third leading scorer. I think he'd maybe on some nights be their third or fourth. Maybe some nights their second.
You think Steph Castle scoring more than Trey Murphy next season?
I think the combination of those two guys is just more important than Trey Murphy for that team. Trey Murphy, I think, in San Antonio just ends up being a lot of times stand in the corner guy. Great stand in the corner guy. But with the Pistons, it'd be, hey, do you want to come help us run the offense a little bit?
I
That's
can
what
get
that would
behind
be.
that.
But I'm telling Zach, I got bad news. It's going to cost more than a first-round pick. Everybody's going to want Trey Murphy.
Who cares about the picks, man? That's my whole thing. The Pistons could trade all their picks. They could get rid of the Stepien rule and trade their next 8 firsts, and I wouldn't care. Who cares about them, dude? They just need to do something to improve this team with a secondary score. Yeah, that's how they do it.
The theory is, as long as Cade is healthy, you're never going to be picking in the top 10, so why ever have your picks?
And you're still going to have your pick every other year. You're only losing half your picks in a huge trade. It's not that big of a deal.
Got a text that said, give Cade some space so he can have some help on the basketball court. and all the Pistons players need to practice their three-point shooting all summer long so they won't keep missing basketball shots every time they shoot from 3 in the mid-range.
Keep practicing.
That's a good goal. Keep practicing.
Yep, practice shooting.
Greg says if this is the new way the NBA calls games, they need a jump shooter who's willing to kick his legs out. Maybe get a couple defensive linemen as well.
Yeah, Harden only got the one call last night. That was like the, oh, are you kidding me type call. It was against Cade. And it was against Danis Jenkins. He didn't get the leg kick call, though. So that was nice, at least.
No, I knew there'd be a correction at some point. It's just Donovan Mitchell also went nuts
Donovan Mitchell stepped up. He really did.
Trevor says the Pistons season was a success. They're young, inexperienced in the playoffs. They had a great season, earned a top seed in the East. 2 years ago, they were in dead last. People are forgetting that. Look, I think the Pistons season at the beginning of the year, if you would have told me everything they would have achieved, I think it's a success. You get to the postseason, you have to move the field goal post. I think that the postseason was ultimately a disappointment. I don't think you can say it was not a disappointment and a success if you're a 1 seed, 60 wins, and you don't even make it to the conference finals. The field goal post got moved, guys. So this second half, once you move, it's like you made the first field goal, and then you went back, it got moved, and then you missed it.
But also, need to remember that this team was down 3-1 to the 8 seed. Like, this team just isn't that good. In the grand scheme of things, right? Like, they just weren't that great the roster is just not that great.
Yeah, they played harder than everyone. That's how they got to 60 wins.
Defense was great until it wasn't. Like that's truly how it went.
And if they can keep that same mindset of playing harder than everyone while improving the roster slightly, that's when you start to get, okay, maybe this team can actually make it to a finals. Maybe this team will make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and beat the team like the Knicks and the Cavs. And I think Trey Murphy would be an excellent first step towards that. I do like the point that you make that trading for Trey Murphy still gives you some flexibility to make another move at some point.
Yeah, you can still get, because what is another thing this team is going to need, even if you get Trey Murphy? They need a secondary guard. Like, they need one. Danis Jenkins is great, and they got him back on a nice deal for next year. He can't be the other guy. There needs to be a guy. Yes, there needs to be another guy a part of the team there. So whether that's bringing in a different type of point guard player, bringing back Karras, whatever it's going to be. Like, there needs to be another guy that can take pressure off of Cade to create a shot. And so you need to add that. You trade for Markkanen, you do this and that. It's going to be really difficult to do any of that. So it's just about what do you prefer? Do you prefer getting the bona fide star player in Markkanen? Do you get the guy that's on a great deal that I don't really know if he can be the number 2 on a championship team? Maybe you believe he has the upside to do so in Trey Murphy, but the depth can be a lot easier to go get if you do get Murphy.
And the malleability of just being able to move your roster around on a year-to-year basis. Whereas if you trade for Markkanen, that's your team. You're locked in with that. And if it starts to go downhill, you're not really getting out of it.
Right. You're kind of in a situation that Cleveland is in, and Cleveland winning last night changed a lot of things because imagine what Cleveland radio would be like today if they had lost.
I mean, they're strapping James Harden onto a rocket ship and sending him to Mars. 989-837-6125. If you're looking for financial advice that actually makes a little bit of sense, you got to meet Doug Shalini of Kingsview Partners right here in Midland, a former teacher and coach. Doug breaks down all the complicated stuff and makes it understandable for people like you and I. He helps businesses and professionals build clear game plans for their money so you can move forward with confidence and not confusion. That's Doug Shalini, Kingsview Partners right here in Midland.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100. on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, we'll take a trip around the league here in just a moment. Kyle, you said that you had a couple things going on in the YouTube that you wanted to address.
Yeah, just some people giving their takes as well on what the Pistons offseason is going to look like. Chris says, it might be an old bit, but I still want Michael Porter Jr. He will cost you less than Markkanen and will give you similar production.
Say that one more time.
Chris says, it might be an old bit, but I still want Michael Porter Jr. He will cost you less than Markkanen, but will give you similar production.
He's also one of the guys that's expiring, and if you're going to trade for him, I'd want to extend him right away. I don't know if I want to trade for anyone on an expiring deal unless I know I'm getting them for more than just the one season. But you're right, it's a perfect fit for what the Pistons need. You get length, you get a guy who is a good rebounder, like a really good rebounder, and shoots the lights out from behind the arc at a high volume as well. So
I haven't really thought of this. Yeah, I kind of just wrote off Michael Porter Jr. from joining the Pistons. It's definitely interesting. It's going to cost less because of the one-year deal. You're going to have to extend him, and I don't know what that number really looks like, honestly, but it's not a bad idea.
What's the number that would make your jaw drop for the Jalen Duren extension? Because let's just assume for this sake he's getting extended. What would the number have to be for you to just put your, like, oh, no. Oh, no. What? That's
in the 40s.
Reaction.
Yeah, in the 40s. Like, basically what he is eligible for once he is announced as an All-NBA player, which we should be getting that stuff pretty soon, by the way, since we got the MVP stuff yesterday.
By the way, Shams just spoiling it in the morning when they could have done it on TV.
They were going to do it on TV. That was the plan.
Really bad.
They, like, called him out for it on the Amazon Prime show.
I didn't like that.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. So, yeah, anything in the 40s I think would be pretty... That would be my reaction, which is not great, obviously. But we did see this morning, Hunter Patterson, who we had on the show last week, writes for The Athletic, said that the number for Jalen Duren is expected to be at lower rate than before. At least the Pistons are expected to offer a lower rate.
I would hope so. He averaged 10 points a game in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I would hope we're not giving him a max contract.
Also in the YouTube chat, Barks from the Pound says, the move for Detroit is to keep Duren. He's gaining experience. Move on from Harris unless it's for much less. You have LeVert for another season. Move on from Herter. They need Markkanen. Go get him.
The Markkanen stuff's just going to be the loudest this entire offseason. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And honestly, man, like if they have Markkanen, I'm kind of intrigued into what it looks like without Jalen Duren, just playing Markkanen at the 5. That's not something he's done a lot of in his career. But you also have Stu and you have Paul Reed as well. And then you can close with Markkanen at the 5 just for maximum spacing ability. Because
Markkanen at the 5?
Markkanen's still a vertical spacer.
He's not a 5.
He shouldn't be your starting 5 throughout the course of a game. But it's like one of those like Chet Holmgren situations where you can run him at the 5. To close a game.
Chet Holmgren's also like one of the league's best rim protectors.
Jaren Jackson, then, like you have him. You have the ability to run him at the 5. And I know Markkanen's not the defender that either of those two guys are, but just in terms of a closing lineup, just to get as many shots as good looks as possible. I still think like because you have the luxury of having a Sar Thompson on the court, which kind of just like helps your defense in general. I
had
just,
another one of those just unreal blocks last night where Mitchell's pulling up and he just volleyball swats him.
I just wonder what it looks like if it's you add Markkanen, you add another lights out shooter, but does it really change all that much? I guess it does. It's a huge upgrade over at the Tobias spot. But you still have 2 non-shooters on the court at all times in Asar and Duren.
Yeah, and you're locked into that 4, without any assets to move either because you gave them all up for Markkanen. So it's definitely a risky play, like if you think it could work out. Last chat we'll get to here. Kevin says, lock in Duren's upside in youth, but don't extend too far past the $200 million mark. Package LeVert, Holland, and 3 future firsts for either Lowry or Trey, and nail this year's 21st pick. I think you trade the pick.
Yeah, I think
you hope
trade
21 is the earliest you'll be picking for a while, right? Like,
or you
in this deep draft, like it actually has some solid value, I would think.
Yeah. It's that or you're moving up to take a guy like Yaxel if he's around at like 15, but I don't think he's going to still be there.
I mean, if they took Lendeberg in the draft, you want to talk about just a worst stretch of time ever for your boy.
Just 'cause you would learn to love him.
I know I would, but still, at
It's
the
also
time,
like
I'd just be like
a really
ugh.
ideal fit.
He's also not getting. Yeah, I mean, he's going higher than that.
I think he's going top 12.
I think so too. I've seen mocks, by the way, that have Mara going higher than Yax.
Really?
Yes,
Just the youth part of it, a little younger.
and he's just huge. Like the guy is humongous. Yeah, and probably I would assume the age has a lot to do with that too.
Let's work a little bit of football in and take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
Around the league is always presented by Aired Insurance. Look, Aired Insurance, they're all about putting you in a better position, whether it's your home, auto, life, or business coverage. They make sure your protection actually fits your life. If you're looking for a team that actually takes the guesswork out of insurance, this is it. Be sure to go follow Aired Insurance Group on social media to stay connected and see how they're helping people every day. All right, winners and losers of the NFL schedule release. This is Eric Edholm from NFL.com.
Do we got to take our sunglasses off since we're like it's not like the funeral anymore?
Sure, let's do that.
It's football, like we're taking a break.
I'll unbutton
I'm getting like
the sports coat
the
too.
mark on my nose from these. Yeah.
Winners. Patrick Mahomes, the first winner here for the winners and losers of the schedule. I mean, when I saw that the Chiefs were playing on primetime TV week 1, that to me screams, oh, Patrick Mahomes is going to play week 1. You're still a little bit skeptical about this, but I don't know, man. The more
I'm
have I
skeptical
convinced
about
you?
this. The
Have
guy
I-
had a season-ending injury at the end of the year, like at the middle to end of the year. I think it's fair to be skeptical that he's not going to play in week 1.
Skeptical, I think it's fair, but you think there's more than a 50% chance, right? I think there's like a 90%
He
chance
tore
he's
his
playing.
ACL. That's like the long-term injury
No, the long-term one's Achilles. ACL
in
is second.
basketball. I mean, they're both terrible injuries to have.
Sure. I also think that Mahomes is, I mean, if anyone's going to dump as much money into being able to get back as soon as possible, it's going to be him. Oh, we did this brand new thing where we think he's going to be able to return faster than any other ACL injury in the history of ACL injuries. Like, we're getting this stuff all the time now with the scuba loose bodies, with the Tatum Achilles. I feel like Mahomes will be the fastest
the
ACL
football
recovery
guy now.
ever.
Yeah, I could see that for sure.
He's listed as the first winner. Aaron Glenn listed as the second winner for the NFL schedule. Jets
Why?
face their share of landmines early on, but there's also this. 4 of their first 8 games come against the Titans, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. So basically just saying there is a lot of stinkers on the Jets schedule, and Aaron Glenn has the opportunity to save his job. I've never seen a head coach get on
That's
the hot
crazy.
seat quicker than Aaron Glenn
Yeah,
did.
I have a take based off of that. I think he's a loser because of that. Because when the Jets go 1-3 in those games, he's going to be fired in week 8. That's the issue.
Poor Aaron Glenn, man.
The guy's never been set up for failure more than that guy. It's really unbelievable.
All right, the next winner we have is the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur, I don't want to say he's like on the hot seat, but there was a little animosity towards him at the end of the season last year. There was a little frustration about how the season ended and what was
losing
going
to the
on.
Bears too. Yeah, 100%.
The reason that they're a winner is they've got this crazy stretch in the middle of their season where they're just not really playing a whole bunch of teams, and Ed Holm was basically saying they're a winner because of that. So if you look at their schedule in whole, it's week 1 Minnesota, week 2 Jets, week 3 Atlanta. I mean, that alone is pretty good.
Start, yeah.
Really good chance to start 3-0. Then you play Tampa, Chicago, Dallas, the Lions,
It's not that bad of a first half, yeah.
Carolina, New England, Minnesota. And then even really to close the year, you've got teams like the Saints and the Dolphins. A pretty favorable schedule for Green Bay, finishing second in the division last year.
When we kind of said the second place is like the toughest spot to be in.
In the AFC, yeah.
Well, even in the NFC too. I mean, like the Rams were a second place team last year. That's basically it, but still.
Losers of the schedule. The San Francisco 49ers, who have to travel more than anybody else this year. They're going to Australia. They got a game in Mexico City.
Yeah.
They still play next to that electromagnetic field. Post-Mexico schedule also looks pretty rough. So they go to Mexico week 11. Then it's Seattle, Giants, Rams, Chargers, Chiefs, Eagles.
Oh my gosh, what?
And then they play Arizona to close the year. But they might be done by then.
Oh, that stretch is brutal. I mean, they could be a loser just ending the sentence at they have to play in Australia and Mexico City.
Yeah.
Like they have to play out of the country twice. Okay, that's pretty tough. And then now you add this in as well. Yeah, they seem like the biggest loser.
Another loser that's written down in this, Ben Johnson. Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson both make this list.
Okay. Where's Dan Campbell though?
Haven't got to, I don't know if we're gonna quite get to Dan Campbell. I don't think he's on this list. Yeah, I don't see him on here.
He's a winner in my book.
But Ben Johnson, he's got that first place schedule, and it's very similar of the Patriots situation where like you kind of knew that they overachieved last year simply based on the schedule that they played. Remember, all season long it was, yeah, the Bears are good, they have a good record, but they haven't really played anybody. And then eventually you just kind of had to accept it when they were 12-5 and, you know, were in the playoffs. But now they got to play the first place schedule, and it gets a heck of a lot harder. Same thing with the Patriots. There's a lot of parallels there. So all of a sudden, Ben Johnson's listed as a loser, having to play the Eagles this year, having to play the Seattle Seahawks this year. And yeah, like it gets a lot harder compared to when the Bears had a fourth place schedule last year and they got all the worst teams in each division
and won a bunch of weird games. Like who would you expect to have a better year next year? The Bears or the Pats, who both are in a similar spot just as far as, okay, we overexceeded expectations and we might pay for it this following season.
I would guess the Bears have a better season because their karma might be coming toward. Yeah, their head coach isn't sleeping with another NFL reporter. I think there's just bad karma going to the Patriots. Yeah, I think the evidence is stacked up enough to where we know that. The Miami Dolphins listed as a loser on this as well, but they're just like a loser. I was
going to say, they let's just make them losers. The description should be, yeah, we actually didn't even look at their schedule. They're just losers.
Mike LaFleur also listed as a loser here too.
Man, so Matt and Mike both are losers? Or Matt was a winner and Mike was a loser?
Yes. Mike's a loser because it's year one in Arizona, and somehow they've got a pretty tough draw. Cardinals play the Chargers to open up the season, then Seattle, then the 49ers. Just right out of the gate.
And, like, have you ever seen his haircut? Like, he's just a loser for that, you know?
Sure. Anything to trash on the LaFleurs, man. All right, that's around the league. Again, thanks to Aaron Insurance for sponsoring that. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. The Pistons blame game when we come back. Whose fault is it that they lost Game 7? If you're looking for something fun to do right here in Mid-Michigan, Go Great Lakes has you covered. From festivals and live music, outdoors adventure, great food, family-friendly events, GoGreatLakesBay.org is your one-stop guide for the Great Lakes Bay region, whether it's a weekend plan or last-minute idea. Get out, explore local, and go Great Lakes.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building. Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
If we're going to do blame pie for Game 7, for Game 7, it's really just everybody. If we want to go like the last 4 games, really what happened here, last 5 games, basically after the Pistons went up 2-0, I think you cut the pie in 3 ways. 4 ways, really. Jalen Duren, you get
Some
the
big cuts of pie, man.
you get the big slice of pie, man. You get like a third of the pie.
You get a whole half of the pie.
JB Bickerstaff, I know you're defending him a little bit more than I am. I just think it's crazy that Game 7 rolls around and Marcus Sasser's playing upwards of 20 minutes a game when he comes in and just in no way, like, you watch it. I'm not just going to sit here and destroy Marcus Sasser. It seems like unnecessary punching bag. But just the decision to play him as often as he was, it felt like he was basically a black hole on defense, not helping the rebounding situation that was going on whatsoever, and wasn't really giving the Pistons any sort of spark on offense either until late into the game. So I'm going to blame JB Bickerstaff a good amount as well. So I'll go Jalen Duren 33%, JB Bickerstaff 25%. Cade has to have a slice because he was terrible in Game 7. Not that it was any really his fault. And also, like, he's just held to a higher standard than everybody else. So I'm going to give Cade 20% of the pie, and the rest can go to Tobias Harris.
It's not that I am defending JB Bickerstaff. I just think that he maybe doesn't deserve as much blame as Trajan Langdon, maybe. Are we not giving any blame to him?
For basically not addressing anything at the trade deadline this year.
The roster's just not that good. And maybe that should have shifted our expectations going in. And I feel like we kind of had a coming moment to that in the Orlando series. Oh man, this team is just not built to go on a playoff run. It's obvious. And then they come back and win, and then we get blinded they could go to the finals, actually. One of the weirdest playoff runs, really, there was with
we're
this
going
Pistons
in,
team.
we're going to sweep Orlando. Oh, turns out Orlando's way better than us.
Turns out we're down 3-1.
Series, and not only are we down 3-1, but we're down 20 at halftime of the elimination game. They win that game. They storm back. We think we're going to beat Cleveland because we're up 2-0. Only win one more game the rest of the series. Yeah, really tough. Really roller coaster of a playoff series. I'm with you. The Trajan deserves a lot of blame. But I was mostly talking this Cavs series specifically. But I guess
right.
it's not someone that you can just throw away and be like,
and it's just
he doesn't deserve any blame, because he does.
I don't give JB that much crap for playing the bench guys when they won them Game 6. Cade didn't have a great game in Game 6. Tobias didn't have a great game in Game 6. It was those dudes off the bench that killed him. So, I understand going to them in Game 7. None of them had it. And nobody in general had it. That's what makes it so tough.
Danis was the only guy who showed up.
I wish I could just throw blame at the bigs because the Paul Reed stuff is great, but he was getting torched by Jared Allen just as much as those other guys were. Jared Allen legit looked like Wilt Chamberlain. I couldn't believe it. Just unbelievable stuff there. So all in all, yeah, I think you're right with the blame pie as far as Jalen Duren getting the biggest slice, because once again in Game 7.
I'm almost sick of talking about it.
Me too.
Point.
Literally.
Everyone knows he's awful.
Even
he's
when
terrible.
we were talking about the Duren Asar stuff, it's okay, well, we all know how we feel about Duren, so let's talk about Asar. And you say I think it's going to be pretty split fan base this offseason as far as what's going to happen with Duren. Is it? I think the fan base all wants the same thing. I think they're sick of him, and it's tough to separate that emotional attachment to the way he played in the playoffs and to just remove that from your thought process, but you just can't let a 22-year-old All-NBA center leave your team when you're the Detroit Pistons. What's the alternative,
You can't let him walk. I think him walking and just joining a different team is off the table. It's never going to happen. So if another team is hey, we're going to pay him $40 million, the Pistons are forced into a really awkward situation where you kind of have to do it. That's where I start to get into anything north of $35 million. If a team's actually going to offer that, you have to start being all right, LA Lakers or fill in the blank other team that wants Jalen Duren and is willing to pay the offer sheet. You can have them, but it's going to come in a sign-in trade, and we're going to need something else, or we're just going to keep Jalen Duren. You have to start floating the idea out of a trade and figuring something out if a team's offering anything north of $35 million, in my mind.
Yeah, you're probably right. I just, if he does, I think the Pistons are just matching whatever he gets. I think they're like matching whatever deal a team gives to him. Even if a team like the Bulls and the Lakers, which there's not that many teams that have cap space, but it just so happens that the teams that do have cap space kind of need a center and would love to go get Jalen Duren. Even if they are like, you know what? We didn't even see the playoffs. We just care about what we saw in the regular season. He's 22. He's going to build. This is going to be just a fork in the road for his career. We're going to give him the 40 M's. The Pistons are just forced to match it, I think.
Yeah, it's better than letting. I'd rather overpay Jalen Duren and have him just be the starting center on the team than letting the 22-year-old walk and getting absolutely nothing in return. Because at least if you sign him, you can trade him down the road at some point. I think it's too early to just downright move off of him unless you're making a move that you actually think turns you into contender, like getting Larry Markkinen in the building. That's the only way to do it, I think. If you're going to do a sign and trade with I don't think the Jazz would do that just because they have Walker Kessler
They don't
already.
need Duren, and it's just like if you're going to pay Duren all that money, just keep Markkinen to be a part of your core. You know, like it has to go to a team that makes sense to want to have Duren going forward with their team.
And I guess I don't really know who that team is.
Which,
right
like
now.
the Clippers thing, it makes sense if they're trying to build off this young thing. But like if we're trading Jalen Duren for Kawhi Leonard, like we have lost the plot. We can just kiss goodbye like any sort of winning because that would be ridiculous.
I don't know.
Kawhi Leonard.
I'm a lot more open to that than you, I think.
Jalen Duren.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
I'm a lot more open to that than
there's
you.
no way.
You bring in Kawhi Leonard, and I don't even know if it really think about it like
Who's your
this.
center?
Does it matter?
Paul Reed is going to be the center for the. Does it matter? Of course it matters.
The only reason I would say it doesn't matter is because if you bring back Jalen Duren, well, it didn't really matter this playoff series at all. Like he was pretty average. So if you're just going to bring in another center who's also pretty average and just making way less money than Jalen Duren, what difference does it make?
Yeah, I just think the hope is that Jalen Duren, like this is not the best version of him in the playoffs. Like it only gets better. This is actually the worst version of him because he's a 22-year-old center at the end of the day. Like Jared Allen, remember what Jared Allen said? The lights were too bright a couple years ago when they lost to the Knicks in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
That's Duren right now. And look at the guy who just killed him. It was that same guy, and Jared Allen. It just took him a couple years.
I almost wonder if his confidence is shocked in a way that you can't really recover from on the same team. I would hope not. I think they're young enough and strong enough from a core standpoint for that not to be the case.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I mean, he lost all of his confidence by the time that these playoffs rolled around. Every single ounce of it. He was not the same player. And it didn't even look like he had any interest in doing it.
How do you get that back? Because you can't really until the playoffs next year. That's the toughest part.
Yeah. He can't really win the Pistons fans back over until next April. That's the unfortunate part. He could average 25 and 12. Won't matter. Nobody will care until you get into the playoffs and prove that you can do it. 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on the Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9.
This is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
The Dan Campbell quote from a couple of years ago, it just continues to hit home, you know? Is this going to be the best chance that we had? I think I just told the guys this might have been our only shot. He said that after the NFC Championship. And I don't think it's quite as extreme with this Pistons team because you need to go through some experiences in the playoffs, and the Pistons had yet to do that, even though they got into the playoffs last year and lost to the Knicks. You need to go and win a couple playoff series, and they got about as close to winning 2 playoff series as you possibly could have. This time around, the difference is Cade's 24, Duren's 22, Asar's 23. I just have long-term concerns that Duren and Asar can play next to each other and it ever actually be a competent offense, and Cade Cunningham potentially just ends up trapped in this situation where he's begging for more shooting around him. Yeah, he loves the fact that Asar is Asar Thompson and, you know, maybe the most special defender on the planet other than Wemby. And he loves the fact that he's got a lob threat in Jalen Duren and doesn't want to actually get rid of either of those guys. And I think Cade Cunningham's a lot closer to Steph. Like, no, I'm never going to say a word. You know, I'll let the GM do his job and I'll do mine and let's play basketball. He's not going to, he's more likely to do that and not the LeBron thing where it's like, no, this is what I want. We got to do this. I want to be making the roster decisions with you guys. And for that reason, I feel like they're just going to be stuck with this group of, yeah, we're going to play really hard. We've got a great defense. We've got a regular season lob threat in Jalen Duren. But when push comes to shove in the playoffs, I mean, we just saw Jalen Duren get neutralized in a way that only Wilt Chamberlain had ever done. I don't know if you saw that stat. Usually when you get thrown in with a Wilt Chamberlain conversation, it's a good thing. No one's had a drop-off in points per game this crazy since Wilt Chamberlain in like the 50s. So not a great sign for Duren.
And also Wilt's drop-off was going from 50 points per game to like 34 points per game.
Yeah.
It doesn't even really count, you know?
Duren's was just cut straight in half, going from 19.5 to 10 points per game. And the 65% shooting drops to 50%. I mean, it was a disaster, nullified in every single way.
And just got outplayed by every other big in the series.
Will he grow as a playoff player? I have no doubt about it. But it's pretty concerning that the defense was that bad. He doesn't really have any post moves other than like shouldering someone, driving to the rim. Obviously more like, I almost don't know if we, it's just such a tricky situation with Jalen Duren because on one hand, he's probably going into the lab like, no, I need to work on my offensive game. I want to work on all these crossovers. I want to be able to stretch the floor a little bit, the way that Bam kind of does a little bit. Nah, man, in reality, we just need you to go be dominant underneath the rim again like you were throughout the regular season. We don't need you to do the cross between the legs and be able to shoot mid-range shots. We don't need you to stretch the floor and hit threes, although that'd be nice. We just need you to not be a total pushover underneath the basket on either end of the floor. That's realistically what they need. And there's not really any evidence of that happening. So I understand the Pistons fans that are ready to be done with Jalen Duren, even though that's more unrealistic than it is realistic.
For sure. And I understand like the point you're making about, well, it's not even about how he played in the playoffs. It's just the future of him and Asar together. Like, is that just always going to be something that puts a ceiling on this team offensively? And
it
that
really
ceiling
can
is
only
short
be tested in April and May.
Right.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're right. Like, but is that ceiling just holding them short from winning a championship? And because I do agree, like Jalen Duren leaving this offseason just feels like there's just no way that happens. And if it does, like then I'll be proven wrong. But you just don't let your 22-year-old All-NBA big leave, like in really any capacity, based off of one bad playoff run. Now, it was like the worst possible playoff run. And I was just as upset as him as everybody else.
And it also, like, just to kind of stack onto that before, and please keep going on this, because it's not just that it was one bad playoff run. It was, this is who Jalen Duren was for 90% of his career up until this point, guys. Like, Jalen Duren wasn't some all-star until this year, and then he regressed right back into who he was for the first 70, 80% of his career. That's maybe the more concerning part.
When he was playing on a contract season. Mm-hmm. And, you know, we had talked about going into last offseason, like, man, Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren, both eligible for the rookie extension. Pistons signed neither of them. I didn't know if that was a good or bad thing. And obviously, it ended up being a good and bad thing. It was good they did not extend Jaden Ivey, obviously. And it was probably bad they didn't get one done with Jalen Duren because he had a great season and it would not have been a crazy high number. Now that number is elevated because he was an all-star and he's going to qualify for All-NBA, which unlocks a different level of cap he can get. Is he going to get that? Probably not, but still, it's going to be much higher than you would have signed him for in the previous offseason. And so the fact that he finally stepped up in a huge way, like it can't be understated the leap that he took this season because it was an unbelievable leap. He's going to be an All-NBA player. It only happened in the contract year. And to the people that, want to believe the thing that, well, he probably already kind of agreed to an under-the-table thing with the Pistons before the season was over, which I
sure
doubt they
hope
agreed to something, but certainly they discussed it. I mean, of course they did. Like, it's something that these people always have to worry about. And so
I could probably put together 40 minutes worth of tape to say why you deserve to make $10 million less than what we agreed upon
Right.
the last time around.
It's nonetheless, though, like him underperforming in the playoffs doesn't help anything. Like it doesn't help the Pistons. It doesn't help him. It doesn't help his agent. It doesn't help anybody except for the other damn team.
I would say it helps the Pistons out a little bit.
It doesn't
He's
help
gonna
them.
be cheaper.
Okay, what's better, them winning in the playoffs or having to pay Jalen Duren $5 extra million per year?
Now, if I'm trying to be a half-glass full person, I would
yes.
say, well, it helps because you knew they weren't winning a title anyway this year, even if Jalen Duren played well. So he plays poorly, and all of a sudden you can sign him for much more. And obviously, I
Sure.
would have just rather him played well and dealt with the max contract. But if you're being a half-glass full person, that's what I would tell you.
So that's what makes you think, like, okay, this is really who Jalen Duren is, because even though he showed us a ceiling that he can unlock as a young player in the regular season, it does not benefit him any rhyme or reason to perform the way he did in the playoffs. So this is what he is when the lights are bright like this, when it's actually turned on, when he actually has to go up against guys who are trying as hard as he is, these better centers in the NBA. He still didn't have to go against any all-NBA caliber big. I mean, imagine him against Cat again. I understand Cat, we call him soft and this and that. Cat has been awesome, man. Cat has been unreal. And he would have torched Duren, just like everybody else was. So it's a very difficult situation this offseason, trying to figure out the avenues of Duren's contract and what the future of even this core looks like for the Pistons, because he is in it, but I don't know what the other pieces are. And I don't know what price that is at either.
Ray says, I would go trade for Giannis.
We haven't thrown his name out yet.
I'm
Hey, if you're going to do the Duren sign and trade thing, that's the one. I'd rather do a sign and trade for Giannis than for Kawhi Leonard, that's for sure.
Yeah, but if it's a sign, that has to be a SAR too. Like you're probably
Is
giving
it
up both
Duren
guys
and a SAR for Giannis?
and picks. I just have a hard time valuing.
Duren's a pretty good player they could get for him, right?
Is he the best player? I mean, is he better than Sengun?
Ooh.
Probably similar
Yeah.
comparisons.
I'd probably rather have Duren.
At 22, a little bit younger than
I don't know who's
Sengun.
better, though, actually. Yeah, I mean, Duren, Ron Holland, bunch of picks.
Yeah, because Ron Holland, as much as he's not worth a whole lot after not really playing in the playoffs. I would imagine. I don't think he's really moving needles for a lot of teams. He's a nice guy to throw in, but
Yeah, at the
when
end
you
of the
don't
day,
really play in the playoffs, he's very expendable.
right. At the end of the day, if your fifth overall pick from 2 years ago is not getting real run in the playoffs, like he becomes very expendable.
Got a text that says, JD has proven that he is the biggest brick that Angel Reese has ever thrown. Ew. And she's thrown a lot of bricks. She's got a
I
lot
saw
of
how
bricks.
she faced off against Aja Wilson last night. Saw that.
Another name that we haven't brought up is Tyler Hero, which I've seen that one floated around.
Yeah, I
there a
mean,
couple
we're
times from our
talking all
texters.
like forwards, and yet there certainly needs to be an addressing to a secondary guard spot. So that's been a popular name tossed around.
Tyler Hero would be interesting too, because all of a sudden it's not like you have somewhat of a defensive shift, and I don't know. That's probably Duncan Robinson, right? You're just swapping those guys,
Yes,
and
100%.
throwing in. You'd have to get something to match the contracts too, because I don't think LeVert would quite get it done with his deal.
Hero's going into the final year of his deal at $33 million next year, which for 1 year for Hero is like a fine price, 100%.
So you need to extend him as well.
Right, it's potential rental there, but I would assume nobody hits the open market anymore, so you're probably extending him, and I don't think it'd be at that crazy of a price. It'd probably be something similar to what he currently is making, honestly, in this mid-30s round, which isn't that bad.
I'm fine with that.
It's not that bad. Now, obviously, you do have to address other spots. It can't just be like, oh, we got Tyler Hero. I don't think that's getting you a championship. Like, you can still go trade for Hero and Trey Murphy. You could go get Hero and another upgrade for Tobias that isn't anyone that's making $50 million. It's probably just Duncan and a first. Like, his value's not that high. And you just eat into the cap because the Pistons have the cap to just make that move. They don't have to add the salary to match Hero.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd probably be that. I mean, that's a move that I'm interested. I think there's a lot of different avenues they can go. I think Trey Murphy's my favorite one right now.
I agree. But the Texts are bringing up Hero is a good point because that's a guy who is a pretty good player that the Pistons, I think it's more likely they get a guy in that range, which I think Murphy's in that range as well. Just not all-star, which I think Hero did make an all-star once, but still, like a non-all-star player that's all right on the border of being an all-star player. Yeah, I think that's who the Pistons are going to trade for rather than the humongous trade.
They don't need a superstar. They need a star role player or just an all-star.
Yeah. A guy who isn't an all-star yet, but could make one in a bigger role with the Pistons even,
989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. 11 o'clock hour, as always, is brought to you by Yiter Insurance. Life happens fast, and at Yiter Insurance, they're here to make sure you're covered every step of the way. Locally owned and trusted in Midland for decades, they treat you like family, not just another policy number. From home and auto to business and life insurance, Yiter is the right coverage for every stage of life. Their team makes insurance simple with expert advice and real people you can actually talk to. That's Yiter Insurance Group. We'll be there when you need us since 1940.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding. by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's pull Kyle in here and hit the news. We'll circle back to the Pistons, but let's hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
Oh, thanks for pulling me in, Ben. Let's hit the news. Haven't done it yet today, so we'll take a look at the community calendar presented by Bresky Siding and Building Repair. Tomorrow morning is the May MyPros Think Tank, which is at the Midland Business Alliance building right here in downtown Midland. It is from 8 to 9:30 if you would like to visit that. Okay, we've been talking about bad things all day. Let's talk more about bad things. Yeah, the Tigers, they lost another series to the Blue Jays. 4 straight series. They've lost 6 of their last 7. And if you were sad that, Detroit versus Cleveland is over now in the NBA playoffs, Detroit versus Cleveland in baseball is kicking off today. Tigers Guardians start a 4-gamer tonight at 6:40. It's Framber Valdez versus Slade Saccone.
Yeah, Framber had a nice bounce-back game after he got suspended. His first game back last week was pretty good. I mean, if they lose to Cleveland here, we might have to close the border to Ohio for a little bit, man. I don't know if I can deal with that. That would be bad.
Oh man, just a double, losing everything to Cleveland. What's gonna happen? Okay, so tell me your mindset after this series. Tigers win 3 of 4 against Cleveland. How are you feeling?
The season's still alive, man. We got a little bit of juice back.
Yeah. Tigers lose 3 of 4 to Cleveland.
Death to everything. That's how I'm feeling.
Okay. Tigers currently at 20-27, 5.5 games back of first place, which belongs to the Cleveland Guardians. Chicago White Sox, man, 24-22. They are in second place. They're 2 games above 500 right now. White Sox won their it was rivalry weekend in MLB this week, so they were taking on the Cubs. They won the series, which is pretty crazy. But I think they'll fall off a little bit. So yeah, this is a huge series for the Tigers. Twins are 21-26. Royals are tied at the bottom of the Central with the Tigers. We did get a little bit of breaking news during the show today. It's not that big of a deal, but the team we've been talking about with a guy that we want to get, Trey Murphy, they've hired their new coach, the New Orleans Pelicans, and it's none other than Jamal Mosley, who was the coach of the Orlando Magic. They've already hired him to be their next head coach.
Is this a Troy Weaver hire? Right? He's still with New Orleans?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, man. I almost forgot that Mosley ended up getting fired anyway, because it felt like they, if Franz doesn't hurt, they probably just win that playoff series.
Now that the Pistons have lost, we can for sure say that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was comfortable saying that in the middle of the Cleveland series. If Franz would have just not gotten hurt, they probably would have won the series. The Orlando Magic. So, yeah.
Yeah, anyways, we have some other signing news going on. Finally, maybe this can come to an end. Adam Schefter confirming it this morning. We heard about it this weekend. Aaron Rodgers is signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A 1-year, $25 million contract. He has officially signed it as of 1 minute ago. Is this the end of the Aaron Rodgers offseason saga? It's got to be, right? What else is going to happen?
Just misses camp, not doing the mandatory. I don't know. Look,
Will Howard might be out playing. I just can't believe
it's you were so bad. He was so god-awful last season. One of the 10 worst quarterbacks in the league. And it's just hey, man, do you want $25 million to run that back and do it again? It's yes. Yes, I do. It's not an overpay because it's a 1-year deal. And if you have the money and the salary cap.
25 for a QB is nothing, yeah.
It's just crazy to think about in hindsight. Hey, you're really bad at your job? Oh, well, do you want $25 million to do it again?
It is a weird concept. Yeah, for people who don't follow sports, it's got to be one of the weirdest things ever. Wait, that guy is the oldest guy in the sport. He's making $25 million. He's not even good.
Yep.
$25 million?
Yep.
Wait, Jalen Duren just played crap in the playoffs. He's going to make $35 million next year?
Uh-huh.
Very weird concept when you put it in just real life terms there. Okay, in golf news, the PGA Championship was yesterday. Man, talking about my day getting worse and worse. Tigers lose, Pistons lose. And I didn't hit any bets in the PGA Championship because Aaron Rai wins the PGA Championship. He's the first English-born golfer to win the PGA Championship in more than a century. Ridiculous stuff here. I think this is only his second ever win on the PGA Tour, his first ever major. Tough outing. Rory McIlroy had a chance to get back into this. Jon Rahm was in it till the end, but Aaron Rice sunk a crazy deep putt on hole 17 to ice this thing. It was an unbelievable putt. And yeah, I did not hit any bets in the PGA Championship. It's been a rough year. I got screwed over in the Masters. I had Rose and Cam Young till the end. They both lost at the very end. And same thing happened with Ludwig Oberg yesterday.
Tough day for Kyle.
No majors yet for Scotty this year, which, it shouldn't be something you expect out of anyone to win majors all the time. But Scotty 0 for 2 so far to start this off. So he's got the U.S. Open next, which I believe completes the Grand Slam for him. Not for a while, though. That will come in early July, late June. Speaking of what's coming in July, by the way, I forgot. I didn't even put this in the news, but it just clicked in my head, and we got to mention it because it happened after the show on Friday. Conor McGregor is fighting again. What?
I can't wait.
This is crazy.
Man. I can't wait. I think this happened Saturday, no?
Or yeah, it did happen Saturday. I think whatever it happened.
So
McGregor Holloway.
This was always kind of the matchup that you and I had thrown out to, is like, hey, if McGregor's going to come back, Holloway's kind of the perfect guy to fight. People were asking, why is this not on the White House card? Because the White House card will sell out regardless. And the Conor McGregor card will sell out regardless.
And
so there's no need to combine those two
sure.
things.
And would it shock anyone if Conor McGregor in a month was just like, I'm actually not going to fight Max Holloway?
Or he got hurt because he's 37 years old.
Yeah, Dana White can't trust putting McGregor in a card like that.
No, not at all. So I'm excited he's back. He's the underdog. I'll for sure just be blindly betting that and then hoping that.
Yeah, just no idea if he's in shape or been doing any sort of fighting.
No
it's
idea.
Just nothing going on. Yeah.
But am I going to be drinking Guinness and
am I going to split the G and then watch this fight?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff. That is the card that follows the White House card. It's about 3 weeks later, July 11th, I believe it is. So very cool stuff there. It's going to be a big-time summer for the UFC, which is good because summer's a pretty dead time in all other sports other than baseball. God, that's the part about the Pistons losing last night that hurts the most. It's like, now we get to talk about the Tigers for the next 3 months. Woo! They suck. It'd be nice. It'd be nice if it was last year, But they have a chance to come out of it here. We will use this time to look at the Covenant Healthcare injury report because some good news happened for the Tigers this weekend. Casey Mize, Will Vest, both returned off the injured list this weekend. Casey Mize had a really good return. Pitched 6 innings on Saturday. Didn't matter. Team blew it. And Will Vest also returned for the Tigers.
Yeah. Mize had 5 or 6 strikeouts, so not a crazy high number, but the strikeouts that he did get, the swing and miss that he got, he was having guys basically swinging onto one knee. So the fact that he's getting that sort of swing and miss early on when he comes back, it's a really good sign for Mize, and hopefully this is just the first bunch of guys to return and start making a bigger impact for this team.
Definitely.
We got Melton, who can come back a week from today, and then Verlander, who can come back a week and... Oh, no, a little bit more than a week from today for Melton. Verlander can come back the 31st. So hopefully by the time June 1st rolls around, a little bit different
we have
of
a real
pitching
rotation.
Staff.
Yeah, that would be nice. And Melton coming back, I'm very excited for. I can't wait for him to be back. And Verlander, who was at the game yesterday.
Dapped up Hutchinson.
I saw somebody, because I saw you posted on Facebook, and the top comment was like, get those guys out of here with their bad luck. They're bringing bad luck to the Pistons. Right. Yeah, no,
that makes sense.
It's a good point, yeah. Okay, here's some big news. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander won the MVP. You think this would be at the top of the news, but everyone knew it was going to happen. Also, it was leaked by the NBA inside reporter for ESPN, Shams Charania. This was supposed to be announced on the pregame coverage of the Pistons game, and Shams just said, screw that, I'm tweeting it out at 10 a.m.
Yeah,
and
pretty lame stuff.
It's extremely lame. We all knew he was going to win it, so it's not that big of a deal, but still, this was supposed to be properly announced, and it just wasn't.
Nope, in the form of a tweet, as most things are these days.
And then it just is, okay, now it's tweeted out, now all the shows have to talk about it then. And even Amazon Prime yesterday was just yeah, screw you, Shams. They were just they didn't even care. They were just going at him, which was pretty funny. We'll do a couple more things here in the news, and then we'll save the rest for later. Spurs Thunder, speaking of Shai, kicks off tonight. Conference Finals, Western Conference Finals at 8:30 on NBC. The West Finals are on NBC. Did I say ABC? The West Finals are on NBC, and the East Finals are on ESPN. The only good thing about the Pistons losing, which we've said a couple of those things by now, is that you really get to lock into this series because this West Finals is going to be like unbelievable. It's going to be such a fun series. These two teams went at it in the regular season. You probably assume the winner of this is going to win the title, so that's what makes this a very, very fun series.
It's like Rams Seahawks. It's like, yeah, whoever wins this is probably just going to win the title. These two teams are
and we could get 7
teams,
games of it. Yeah.
Juggernauts. This is Goliath versus Goliath. I can't wait for this one tonight.
And like the stories you get out of this, you have either OKC potentially winning back-to-back this early, Shea going back-to-back MVP, back-to-back titles. Like that's
basically
very unheard of.
Top 4 guards since 1990.
Yeah, like it's just an unreal, whether you like him or not. Like that's doing that in back-to-back years is crazy. Or it's Wemby going to the finals in year 3 with zero playoff experience, which is just unheard of as well. So you have two things that are like unbelievable outcomes with whatever happens here.
Shea, I know we did overreaction, underreaction segment earlier, but would it be an overreaction or an underreaction or a proper reaction to say Shea is one of the 5 best guards ever if he were to win the title this year with the back-to-back MVPs, 2 finals MVPs?
I mean, that's an overreaction. Ever?
How many guards do you think have done that? Steph has?
Steph technically hasn't, right?
Oh, no, Steph has not. He's done the back. Let's just, period. Two MVPs, 2 finals MVPs as guards. That is Jordan. That is Magic. That is Kobe never did that. That is
Kobe just has the 1 MVP.
I mean, that's not even Steph. Steph doesn't have 2 finals MVPs.
Right. But like
I know,
yeah.
I get it. But I'm
not putting Shea over Steph Curry.
Neither am I. The resume is just getting kind of scary.
Yes, and it's early. Like that's could I say eventually? 100% eventually. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Would it be an overreaction or underreaction if Wemby makes it to the finals that no matter how the outcome plays out, he's the best player in the league?
Ooh, no matter how the outcome plays out?
Of the finals, yeah. All he has to do is beat OKC and he's the best player in the league. I think the answer is undoubtedly yes.
Well, then there's no point in asking me if it's undoubtedly, you know?
Well, what do you think?
I mean, I would like him to win the finals in that case. You know, like Jokic and Shea had like won it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I would give it to them. Or I would still, but if he wins it, yeah, I would be there already, which is crazy. I do want to do this one last thing in the news because this is pretty funny. Big Ten spring meetings happened this weekend, and Pete Thamel is once again reporting that all the coaches are lobbying for the 24-team playoff. Exciting. I saw Mike Greenberg this weekend said, like, if we get to a point where Michigan and Ohio State in the final week of the regular season are resting guys because they have, 6 weeks of football left after that game to play,
then we've lost the plot.
100%.
A 24-team playoff. I think that would end. I've already had like a
my
fading
happiness?
love.
Yeah.
I've already had a fading love for college football. If there ends up being a 24-team playoff, I think I'm just good. I'm all set on college athletics. Yeah. All right, 989-837-6125. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. We're live here on 100.9 The Mitt. We got a couple more things to get to before we wrap up today's show. Thanks for joining us here on a Monday. Please go ahead and like and subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. Hey, if you're looking to move, you got to meet Matt Smith, Modern Realty, redefining real estate with a fresh and modern approach. Whether you're buying, selling, or investing, Matt Smith delivers personalized service tailored to you. Cutting-edge marketing, local expertise, and commitment to making your real estate experience as smooth and successful as possible. From cozy starter homes and luxury properties, they know how to find you the perfect fit. Trust the team that combines innovation with real-world know-how. That's Matt Smith, Modern Realty.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building. Built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
So, do the Pistons need to trade for another star this offseason? I'll tell you what, man. I don't think it's necessarily like star, like, oh, they have to go get Lowry Markkanen, and oh, they have to go get Kawhi. Trey Murphy, I don't know if he considers a star. Here's where they have to do something, right? They can't just run it back with the same squad, because clearly this team is not good enough to make it to a finals, even in a down year in the East, even in a season in which you have 60 regular season wins. This squad that they have on this roster right here, right now, is not up to standard with even the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are flawed in themselves. I mean, they damn near lost to the Orlando Magic. If it wasn't for a Franz Wagner injury, I'd say they probably would have lost to that team. So it's nice that they got some playoff experience. Was the season a failure? Was it a success? I'll let somebody else debate that one. But here, right now, I'm telling you, they need to take a massive step forward this offseason. And I don't just mean in terms of regular season win next year, because that almost is now irrelevant. Now that you've had 60 wins, I don't care if you have 55 wins next year or if you have 70 wins next year. Like, you got to see it in the playoffs now.
Yeah, I mean, 70 wins would be pretty cool.
It'd be cool, but at the end of the day, like, are you walking in like chest out based on your playoff resume? No, not really, because you were the 1 seed the year prior and you lost what probably should have been in the first round, ended up being in the second round. So I do think there needs to be a big-time change this offseason. And I'm not going to go as far as saying that has to be get rid of Duren. That has to be get rid of Asar. I'm not going to do an absolute. I think there's a numerous different amount of things that they could do. And we talked about a lot of them, whether it's Trey Murphy, whether it's Kawhi Leonard, whether it's Tyler Hero, whether it's Lowry Markkanen, whatever butters your bread, there's options for it. There's a ton of different avenues to go if you're Trajan Langdon, but something needs to be done. And I personally, it wouldn't be heartbroken if there was a sign and trade with Jalen Duren, because wow, like it's a little bit in the moment, but he didn't do one singular thing well in the playoffs. So you think he can progress, but at the same time, it's like, bruh, like you were downright disgusting out there. Basically, every time you had to see the floor. The defense yesterday in Game 7 was about as bad as I've ever seen it from Jalen Duren. He looked like rookie Jalen Duren again. Obviously, the offense has been lacking. Points per game cut in half. I think there needs to be, I don't know, if I would label like everyone a superstar, but something needs to happen to this group this offseason, because I'm always going to have the fear that these three, I think here's what's become clear, Kyle. These three, Cade, Ausar, and Duren, can't be the standalone three guys in a core that win a title. True or false?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously true. Now, obviously, this is the first version of that, and you would assume that they're going to continue to grow and get more playoff experience, but that felt like the whole reason why Trajan Langdon and the Pistons front office were not aggressive at the deadline this year, was to see what this core can do. Now, that can be a frustrating thing to fans, because you're basically telling them, yeah, we don't really think they can win a championship, but let's see. Let's see what can happen without like making any drastic changes. You still could have thought that same thing with making minimal changes, going and getting Ayo Dosunmu or Kobe White. Like I think you could have still answered the question of, is this core real or not? But whatever, they didn't do that. So now that they have their answer, okay, this core is not even good enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. This core almost lost to the 8 seed. Like, clearly changes need to be made now. So I can respect what they chose to do with the trade deadline if it means in turn drastic changes happen this offseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they do like nothing and they're just like, man, this team, they were one game away from the conference finals, because they could take that glass half full thing too. Man, if they just get a little bit more production out of Duren, because this was only year one of him in the playoffs in a bigger role, like he's going to only get better and better. Like this team could get to the finals, no doubt. Then I'm going to be extremely frustrated. So, because you just wasted a playoff run telling us that we were going to use it as a way to find out and learn who is who on this team, who is who going forward. Drastic changes need to be made now that they didn't do them at the deadline, because we know this current core is just clearly not good enough. I mean, Danish Jenkins was their other guard, man. Jenkins is great, and the deal he's on is great. And he was good in this series against Cleveland. But what are we doing? Like, that can't be the secondary guard. Cade's coming off of a collapsed lung and yet has all of the weight on him offensively to do everything. And he led the playoffs in points per game. And it finally came to an extreme halt in Game 7 of the second round when clearly he just didn't have it. But, like, of course that happened. Like, it shouldn't shock anyone.
Mm-hmm.
There was no other options. Look at the spacing in that game last night. It was ridiculous.
It's the worst it's ever been, which gives me the long-term fear of I just don't know if it works with Ausar and
Cleveland
Duren.
is just like, you know what? We're going to fully hardcore commit to stopping any drive. We're just shoot it. Go ahead.
Yeah, Cade took 7 threes yesterday. Didn't hit a single one of them. After being pretty good from behind the arc the entire playoffs, 43% going into yesterday. So kind of shocking, but also kind of due for one of those games where you just couldn't hit it from the outside. It was a tough game for Cade Cunningham, without a doubt.
We have an interesting YouTube chat that we haven't gotten this perspective yet, so let's dive into that. Gary says, are we being a tad too harsh on Duren? The list of good players who were bad in their first postseason appearance is pretty long. Well, this is his second appearance, but it is his first as like a all-star player, so I can get with you on that. It's a fair point, and I think those are the exact things that the Pistons are going to think about when giving him his extension in a month.
I think I would be able to live with it if Jalen Duren, still had the aggressive nature to him and just didn't really have it from the field and shot poorly. It was the lack of effort from me that really was concerning with Jalen Duren, and the fact that he got eaten alive defensively in Game 7. It was just like, yeah, we're just going to force this guy into making decisions under the basket, and he's basically a non-factor down there because he's not a shot blocker. I know he had the one game where he blocked a bunch of shots. Blocked shots not always translating to good defense, because Jalen Duren more often than not is fouling because he's going for every block, and he's just not in right position ever. I don't think we were too harsh on him. I think the disappearing act was about as bad as it could possibly be. But
the effort thing is a good point, but I do also think, like we talked about it earlier, like this happened to Jared Allen a couple years ago. He literally said, like, yeah, the playoffs was different, and I was just not ready for it. And now look at what he just did. He just killed Jalen Duren, who might be in the same exact spot that he was.
989-837-6125. Crane's L&M Appliance Center has been serving the Tri-City area with quality home appliances from refrigerators and washers to stoves and dishwashers, backed by friendly, knowledgeable staff who you can count on. They make getting the right appliance easy with delivery, professional installation, haul away from your old unit, and even financing options to fit your budget. Stop in at Crane's L&M Appliance Center today and discover dependable brands and great value for every room in your home.
The Ben Bosscher Show, built by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The by Bresky Siding and Building Repair on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, let's welcome everybody back in for our final segment today. You know, we got 3 traditions to close this thing out. The first of which, as always, is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Ironically, on Friday, our lock of the day was the Detroit Pistons, which made us a little bit of money because they were underdogs in Game 6 on the road.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, we never even get to talk about Game 6. That's the worst part about how this all went down. Yeah, they were plus 144, and it hit. It was your only hit of the week, but it definitely helped you out. You did lose the week, though. So you're 8-11 through the 19 weeks of 2026. But that hit for you did put you back up in the month of May. So that is the biggest sign there. You're 0.23 units up in the month of May, 13.84 units down in 2026.
Okay, today I'm taking the MVPs under in points. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the over-under's at 30.5. I'm taking his under at minus 125. He's shooting 19% from 3 versus San Antonio this season. They force him into a lot of those 3-point jump shots, even though he wants to get into the mid-range. He doesn't really get the luxury of doing his mid-range herky-jerky stuff with Wemby just kind of lurking around. It basically changes the entire way that Oklahoma City has to operate, and specifically Shai, who, again, was the most valuable player in the league, which is why I think Wemby's just, like, still, even, like, if you think he's the 3rd or 4th best player, just probably underrated, because he's just going to completely take, not Shai out of the game tonight, but totally change the way that he has to play, because he can't do all of his mid-range stuff with Wemby lurking. So I'm going to take Shai's under, guessing that Shai has a tough time scoring tonight, even though he's at home.
Man, a Shai under is really tough.
Minus 125 for a reason.
Like, he could just score 30 and the under still hits. That's a good point. You might be talking me into it, dude.
He averaged 29 points per game.
Give me one more point
versus,
why I should take it.
He averaged 29 points per game versus San Antonio in 4 matchups this year.
Which is less than 30.5.
Just less than 30.5. That's correct.
Screw it. I'll take it. I'll tail it. Screw it.
Okay, he's tailing. Shai Gilgeous under 30.5 points tonight is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
Second thing we have is our game of the day.
Game of the day.
I don't think this one's going to be much of a shock, huh?
No. It's going to go with the Western Conference Finals Game 1. It feels like really ever since the beginning of the season, since December, we've kind of just been inevitably going towards this right here. And
we finally got it. Like the two
matchup.
juggernauts facing off in the conference finals. Hasn't happened that much like in recent NBA history. It feels like there's one surprise team that gets to the conference finals every year. And that's just not happening in the West this year. It's awesome.
This is somewhat reminiscent of, like, if we actually got Lakers versus Clippers the first year that LeBron and AD and Kawhi and Paul George were all out there. Remember, it was like these two on a collision course. It's going to happen. The Battle of LA. And then we never actually got it in a playoff series. This was that version of it where it's, oh, these are the two best teams, collision course.
Yeah.
Like,
except in this one, you add in the fact that one of them is the reigning champs. One of them has the reigning back-to-back MVP on their team. And the other team has an alien on it. Like, I think this is heightened, honestly.
Yeah. It doesn't quite have, like, the
it's
super...
not the LA market. You know, like, that was very cool of that. But, like...
But from a global standpoint...
And these two teams don't like each other, man. Like, they do... Like, the Spurs do not mess with the Thunder. So, this is going to be very, very fun. This is going to be the game of the day every other day, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
No
love for Tigers guards, huh?
No love for Tigers guards, even in a night game. That is our lock of the day.
Well, that
is our game of the day.
Game of the day.
It's been a long funeral. You got to cut me a little slack.
No,
this
that's
time.
fair.
I got 2 words for you. Steve Nash and Chris Paul. Must-see TV.
All right, last thing we got, we predict what Colin Cowherd opens with. He takes over Fox Sports Radio at noon. What do we think he opens up his show with? What's the score? Whose turn is it to go first?
We're still tied up at 56 all. Tie ball game right now, and it is your turn to go first. He led with like the 49ers schedule on Friday, just something like ridiculous. So yeah, it's your turn to go first. Yeah. I have a good pick here, and I don't think you're going to take it first, so I'm excited for that.
Okay, I'm going to...
We had a major in golf, Ben. We had a major.
I'm not gonna go there. I think I'm going to go with... Does he go east or west? Does he go last night, or does he start previewing tonight already?
I think he could start previewing tonight already. Or does he do like Cleveland won, cool, they're going to get killed by the Knicks.
Yeah, it could be that too.
There's a lot of options. And the thing is, the thing I'm picking is none of those.
It's hard to narrow down on an option. Are you going to pick Aaron Rodgers?
Maybe. I am going to pick Aaron Rodgers, so I'll just let you choose your NBA choice.
I'll go with the Western Conference Finals tonight. I'll go with the West.
Okay.
That's where I'm going.
That feels right. Shea just won the MVP yesterday, too, so that's probably the right answer. I'm going to skip out on the Cavs pick. I just don't really see it happening. I know it happened last night and everything, but I'm picking Aaron Rodgers. It's so dumb. Trust me, I'm with you. I don't want him to talk about it. I'm not going to be that tuned in if he does, but that's what I'm picking.
Yeah. He hasn't.
Like now is the time to actually
Rodgers.
talk about him. He's officially signed with the Steelers. Like, go for it.
Yeah, it's not a bad pick.
One of us probably gets a point, unless he does talk Cavs Knicks, which would be kind of surprising.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us then today. Like and subscribe on YouTube if you have not already. Appreciate everyone for tuning in today. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. Going to have to do some Tigers tomorrow, so hopefully they can pick up a win here today versus Cleveland. We'll talk to you guys then. See you later.
The Ben Bosscher